up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior Damon.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. That's right, Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show because we can't figure it out. We can't get to episode 2 until we figure out episode 1. Good luck. Guys, I am at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR The Show on Twitter, Wrestling on the Rocks on Instagram. But today we have a guest for the first time on episode 1. We have Bishop from Terrible Wrestling Takes to come tell us all of his terrible theories here today. Bishop, say hello.
Hello. Yes, I am Bishop from the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, found on all platforms. If it's not on your platform, let me know. I will put it there. Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, because if I didn't say they were terrible, you definitely would tell me that. So I get out in front of it.
Yeah. I'm gonna hedge this one off at the front. I'm gonna tell you right now. I like that. It's good.
Well, you can't name it "Go Fuck Yourself." You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I guess not. I was trying to think. I thought there was a while where for whatever reason I thought the go to sleep was a "Go Fuck Yourself," but
right,
that's not the case. And I know that for a while John Cena's was "Shut the Fuck Up," and then they changed it to STF. So I don't know where the U went, but
welcome just in time in the chat saying episode 1 hype.
Just in time coming through. Cheers, Justin. Thank you for coming through to episode 1. Let's get into it. I'm cracking some drinks right now. I'm making myself the Bishop Special, a Brooklyn crafted ginger beer with some Sky vodka. Because I hear the Sky is real nice out in Delaware. Bishop, what are you drinking?
Just some flavored seltzer water tonight. I went a little too jam packed on Sunday. I'm still recovering, so my 2.5 hour drink along on Sunday turned into about 4 hours with an hour and a half by myself. So go sober tonight.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Well, we've been saying it before. Oh yeah, but it is on the rocks. We've said it before. I think we started saying it in episode 1. It's not about what you're drinking. It's about who you're drinking with. And we are glad you came through to have a drink with us, regardless of what it is. We're just here to hang, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime the missus allows it, I'll be here.
Just in time in the chat saying Marsh in his Delaware.
Well, yeah. I'm supporting the cause. I'm a supportive person. Guys, Let's knock out some news real quick. I don't have anything else on the top, unless there's anything you have. It's just good to see you since Sunday. We did the watch along. If you guys haven't seen it, it's available. It's out there. It's probably on our Twitch. It's probably on Terrible Wrestling Takes Twitch.
It was an interesting one. It was definitely in episode 1. That's for sure.
We had that episode 1 vibe going for a while. We went heavy on the episode 1.
Yeah, it was good for a while. Then my mic cut out, and as soon as I plugged it back in, it was all fucking robotic auto-tune from there. So it was one hell of an episode 1.
Yeah, and then I was kind of like looking back on it, and like well over half of the show, we're not even talking about it. It didn't have to be a watch along, but it was good. It was a good time. And before that, we had a Wrestling on the Rocks buyback on Saturday. If you did not check it out, that's where we did cover SmackDown and getting into Elimination Chamber on the way in, our predictions and what we were hoping for. And I believe if you go back and listen to it, you'll find out I was right about literally everything. I usually am.
I don't remember. It's on the podcast feed, so go and download it.
Check it out. Check it out at TW Takes Podcast or at Wrestling on the Rocks Podcast. It's on both because we like partnering up on this stuff when we can. There's just a couple of bit of news that came out, and let's see. So we know that Samoa Joe's got a show coming up on the Bump called Grit and Glory, where he's going to be interviewing Rhea, Edge, and Big E separately to talk about their stories, 3 very different journeys at 3 very different time frames into one very same company. that probably looks very different to each one of them. So I think that'll be good. I think Samoa Joe sitting down talking with anybody's going to be a win.
Yeah, for sure. Joe's done fantastic work on commentary alone, and he knows the business. So, looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. Justin does say in the chat there takes that you were getting your T-Pain on that night.
Shout out to the Monster, season 1 Masked Singer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And deservedly so. That was amazing. And also hysterical. Remember the one episode he came out in a suit and they had combed over the Monster's hair to have a part in it?
Yes. Put a bow tie on. Yep. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Dude, I laughed through the whole song. I couldn't stop laughing. I had to go back and watch it with my eyes closed because it was so fucking funny. So good. Anyways, let's see the other thing. I mean, unless there's something else either you wanted to say about Samoa Joe thing other than it's coming up on the bump. Check it out.
No.
Just put over a couple things. Also, A&E. I know that there's been a lot of rumors and rumblings about A&E having a contract with WWE to do some stuff, and they are going to start spitting out some content here pretty soon. A&E biography on a number of wrestlers. I think it was 8 different wrestlers, an 8-part series they're doing, and they're doing a series called WWE Most Wanted Treasures. And
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that. They're scouring the globe for lost items to certain points in history.
Huh.
So, like, I heard, I know Peter Rosenberg talked about having the Bret Hart glasses from the day of the Montreal Screwjob. And I think that's where I heard that they were doing the findings is, like, to find stuff like that.
Yeah, I think they also reached out to Conrad. I think he's mentioned it.
Yeah.
Should be cool. Should be cool. I like the idea of it. Should be really cool. Something I wanted to mention about that, though, dude. I mean, you have A&E, you have NBC Peacock, you have USA, you have Fox. For a company that's spiraling down the toilet, as Dave Meltzer likes to tell me all the time, they seem to have a lot of people wanting more of their content.
Never read one dirt sheet article that I've liked. I don't understand why people pay attention to them. I don't understand.
I don't get it. I was thinking about it like this, too. So, in the last year alone, and we won't harp on this forever, I promise, but I do want to talk to you about it. I want to know what you think, because I know how you feel about dirt sheets. In the last year alone, WWE opened up a TikTok account, only been on for a year, and has 10 million subscribers as of this date. It's got a little bit more now. I don't know how high it's gotten, but it's above 10 million. If you calculate all of the reported ratings for each week on each WWE show, it doesn't even equal 10 million.
Right.
If nothing else, this tells me that there's 10 million accounts out there, potentially some bots here and there. You never know. There's crazy stuff, but I can't imagine. Say what?
Even if it's half, it's still 5 million.
Still 5 million. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way it's half, but there are 10 million accounts that want to keep their eyes on WWE and what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other,
this is definitely a whole bigger bag of tricks we can get into as far as, because you're basically, talking about the health of WWE as an organization. And, people grab metrics on how they want to judge the health of it. But, I mean, whether it's the stock market price or the ratings on Wednesday or what have you, business is business, and people don't do business with shitty companies. Yeah. So, I mean, they've signed some fucking deals and they get some interaction, way more than I get. So,
yeah, they get a lot of interaction. And that's the other thing I wanted to say real quick was it seems to me that by going off of strictly the ratings, we're ignoring a huge set of actual engagement and eyes. The one thing we also found out from an interview that someone did with I think what's his name, Brian or something, the guy who hosts a lot of those earnings calls, where they were talking about how they didn't believe eyes had left. They believed that some eyes had shifted, but they felt like the health of the viewership was actually much better than people think. And the person was put on the spot by someone who interviewed them later and said, how can you say that ratings are better if we can see the ratings? And he goes, well, it turns out you can't. Fox app if anyone watches SmackDown through the Fox app on a smart TV or a device like an iPad or an iPhone or an Apple TV, none of those viewerships are reported at all by Fox. So that means that the highest rated television show on wrestling in the wrestling world at around 2.1 to 2.5 million is actually higher because it can't report anyone who watches it on a device.
Right.
Makes me wonder about all the companies then. I wonder how much TNT we don't get to see because of apps. I wonder how much USA. I just think that at this point, knowing that you have 10 million in 1 year, because it's also fine to say like, oh, someone subscribed to their Instagram 4 years ago and they just don't even look at it anymore. In 1 year, you had 10 million subscribers to TikTok. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bishop, but it seems to me like listening to Meltzer about ratings is like listening to Jerry Jarrett about booking. It's all very interesting from a time frame where it was relevant, but the fact that you know how to do that successfully 20 years ago means you probably don't even understand how it works now, and it's probably more of a handicap than a help.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. No, for sure. You can't, like, I muted and then blocked Brian Alvarez because he constantly posts positive AEW ratings, but he never jumps in on a Monday or a Friday to show what those ratings were. And he's painting this narrative about AEW ratings and all that shit. And when I first saw him, when I got into this, The Masked Singer was getting 4.5 million viewers on a Wednesday. Oh. And AEW and NXT combined were at like 1.2.
Yeah.
So who's watching what? Yeah, absolutely. You know, and to say that this company is winning the ratings war, there is no war, because when you look at all the metrics, not just the ones that benefit your argument, I don't think WWE is worried about a thing. I think you said that the other day on an episode 1 that you guys did, that right. The war doesn't exist just based on them debuting LA Knight the way they did.
Yeah.
So that the health of WWE has nothing to do with the ratings, because ratings are antiquated. They're only for ad dollars anyway. But
they're only for one section of your ad dollars. How Correct. Much ads can they sell on their Instagram or on their YouTube or on their TikTok with 10 million views, subscribers? Beyond views, who knows?
Well, let me ask you this. How happy do you think Snickers is to be on Peacock for WrestleMania?
Yeah.
You know, there's 36 million subscribers to Peacock. Yeah. Do you think where would they rather be? Would they rather be sponsoring SmackDown to 2.1 that they can tally, or there's actually 36 million people that have the Peacock app?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think the idea of people being obsessed with ratings and this quote ratings war is really a nostalgic callback and a desire by Alvarez and Meltzer both to be relevant in a world where they are no longer relevant. And I don't mean that as like this big dig of like, oh, you guys are trying to stay. You know what I mean? It's not a dig. It's just realistically, you have no more information than anybody else anymore. There's just as many other people interviewing the same exact people, getting the same exact information than you. And bottom line, Meltzer and Alvarez, when they say, oh, we're definitely sure this is what's in the books, and it doesn't happen, they go, plans changed. We say that all the time. There's nothing that they've reported that you couldn't guess by watching the TV, or that you couldn't make the assumption of based off of just basic human psychology. You know what I mean? There's not any information that they give. So they push this ratings thing because back in the day, it was relevant because it was the singular metric. It's now such an irrelevant metric that they are hyping up this ratings war because it's the only thing that keeps them looking like they know something. And really what it shows to me is they know less than anyone else. You're not paying attention to anything.
Yeah, I think for a while too, the challenge on MTV was beating both shows. I'm like, if you're losing to season 58 of the challenge, you know, and what demo watches that show? It's the same fucking demo that they're talking about holding. Yeah, it's so stupid. But yeah, I hear you asking dirt sheet writers if the health of a company exists in their mind based off of ratings, it's pretty much like asking Jerry Jarrett, hey, can you help me with the main event of WrestleMania? Like, nobody's going to be happy. It's the wrong metric.
Yeah, it's the wrong thing. Jerry Jarrett was very successful in Memphis during a very specific period of time, and he could tell you exactly what worked in Memphis at that time. Nationally, things work different. So it made the territory so interesting, is that the same thing didn't work in every territory, which is fascinating and I think amazing. But again, Meltzer is the territory. It's impossible for me to believe that you can actively like and believe everything Meltzer says, but then also be the same people who shit on Jim Cornette. They're both about the same right. They both are accurate in their memories of how things used to work. But both of them are the same level of that shit doesn't work that way anymore. You know what I mean?
Everything works the way it does. It like Ricochet the other day on Twitter put out a double moonsault that he did, and he shitted on it the way, and then I commented, and he was hitting everybody back that day. So I was glad to get a shout out from Ricochet. Yeah. So shout out back to Ricochet, the one and only. But no, he was basically like shitting on the moonsault. But what my comment to him was, it would have been trash if it wasn't for the pin. All that shit has a place. All of it has a place. Make it make sense. My problem with the Jacksons over in AEW, nothing registers. They get hit or they hit someone and then they move on to the next. There is no registering. So there's the move is basically a hip toss. Yeah, super kick's a hip toss to them. It's a transition move to get to the next thing. And like, that doesn't make sense. But does a super kick make sense in today's wrestling? Yeah, it does. Just use it right. So everything works if it's done right. It doesn't matter what it is.
And also, why are you escalating if you don't know if it even would have put him out? You know what I mean? Like, if you do a big move and you don't go for the pin, then what are you escalating for? You didn't even try to go for the pin. That could have been the finish. You don't know, right? If we're supposed to believe that it's not predetermined for a second. Right. I like it when JR will be on commentary and he'll be like, we're 10 minutes into this match and we haven't seen a single pinfall. Someone here's got to try to win this match, I would think. And I was like, whoa.
Right.
Love it. Fucking love it. I'm going to hit the chat real quick. Justin says, Alvarez has turned into an AEW shill. It's ridiculous. 100%. And Justin Time says, remember I said it during episode 1. That's right. He was there at episode 1. Says it's only a war to those who wanted to view it that way, and says that Chris Jericho thinks he's the demo god and he's got nothing on Guy Fieri, which is true. And there's that image going around of Guy Fieri with normal hair. I love it. For the record, anybody who hasn't seen it, go look it up. Yeah, I just want to throw that out there. See what you thought, because it's just silly. It's so weird to me. And, I wanted to shit on Meltzer.
WWE just inked a deal in Canada, right? They're now
That's
doing
our
NXT
next thing
in
up.
Canada. Oh, gotcha.
That's the next thing. Great transition right there. NXT is going to start streaming live in Canada when it happens, and that was not happening previous to that. Producer, had something you want to say?
And I've been saying I think it's only a matter of time till we see more coverage of NXT UK. That's just my theory.
Okay. As far as what this has to do with in Canada, what I thought was really interesting is the amount of countries I've seen, I think Canada included, and Ireland, I think it was Ireland, where I've seen people say that they watch AEW exclusively because it's literally the only thing on.
Right.
And that's what made the AEW international deal so big and so important, because we talking about it's expensive, it's through this paywall. Like, there was a bunch of complaints the countries had, but I think the real thing was here was live streaming wrestling in areas that didn't have any live streaming wrestling, which means it was landmark because now they're the first live streaming wrestling there. Perfect. Well, now that you're gonna have NXT in a market that didn't have it before, now I want to see what the ratings look like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I think people look. I agree that NXT went to Wednesday nights live on USA as you can't let them run unopposed. I do agree with that. But for people to think that it was done out of desperation, I was already watching it on NXT on the network. I mean, on Wednesday nights on the network. So it wasn't like people weren't watching. Now more people can. And the point is, if people are going to watch live on Wednesday, well, fuck it. We'll be there too. Yeah. But they did it at the right time. when it was good for them, just like getting into Canada. If they rushed into a European deal or a Canada deal or a Mexico deal because AEW was out there and unopposed in those countries, that would be what everyone's talking about when it comes to the Wednesday Night War in the US. But globally, I mean, I know I saw some people from Canada on Twitter going like, about fucking time. Like, we've been waiting for this. So, but they did it when it made sense for them. And that's what they're always going to do. They're always going to do it when it makes sense for them. They're too smart not to.
Yeah. No, 100%. Love it. Love it. Can't wait to see what Alvarez tweets about it.
The Ireland ratings are still higher for AEW.
Yeah, they got the demo in Canada, so. So pretty cool. I think it's great, right? That was the whole thing with AEW, right? Everyone said, well, more wrestling, the better. So you put NXT out there. Well, yeah, more wrestling, the better, right? Dicks. That's all I had for news, I think. Well, yeah, the only other thing is we'll just talk about it when we get to Raw. So we did, you and me, the old Bishop, we had a watch-along, not watch-along. We called a drink-along. It was an incredible success of technology and information.
Hey, if you don't win, it's a learning experience.
That's right. That's why we always learn on episode 1. So we did watch along. So we got to have like some live interactive moments of reactions of how do we feel in this immediate moment. But that's not to say that after a day or two, we don't go back, reflect, rewatch, and think, okay, how do I feel about this kind of in hindsight? Because the one thing that I get in my head about when I watch something immediately is not this moment, it's the next moment. Because I know that was one of our hang-ups when we watched Royal Rumble is the moment that Edge won. We were both like, but what the fuck is next? Instead of being like, yes, Edge winning is dope and it's cool, but what the fuck is next? You know what I mean? We don't save the what the fuck is next for the next show. We say it in the moment because that's how you and I mind seems to work is we immediately think next. And I think the Elimination Chamber was no different as we'll go through it some. And the fallout on Raw. So we'll go through Elimination Chamber and then run through Raw some. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Let's see. I thought okay, so on the kickoff show, they had to get somebody to fill in Keith Lee's spot because Keith Lee was going to be out due to a reported injury from 2 weeks prior. I don't know anything about that, whether or not it's kayfabe real or whatever. But they did have a fatal 4-way with Ricochet, Ali, Elias, and Johnny Mundo, John Morrison, to see who would be in the U.S. title match. And Morrison won that one. And the moment he won, I was on a Zoom call with somebody and I went, oh, so this means that Morrison's eating the pin so Riddle can get the title then, right? That's why we're doing this. And they're all like, it's good. No. And then that's what happened. So, but
I think we said this exact thing.
Yeah. Exactly. And then the other thing was the idea that it had to be a triple threat let me know that Bobby Lashley had to lose that. Yeah. So, but it did open up. The pay-per-view itself opened up with a number 1 contendership spot, Elimination Chamber with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, King Corbin, Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan, and Cesaro. And Daniel Bryan, Cesaro opened it up. Overall, man, upon rewatching this, I think this was the best match of the night. I really do. This was tremendous.
Yeah. It's. I think it's close with the women's tag match. For some reason I liked it more than I thought I was going to, the women's tag match. But this, well, let me give you my overall thoughts on the show too, because I had a big opinion after I watched it again.
Go ahead, hit me with it.
It felt like an action-packed Raw. It didn't feel like a pay-per-view, and I was bothered by that. Like I was legit let down, and that because like there was no high drama within the match, which it wasn't spot festy, but it was like, okay, you do this here, you do this there. You know, when Corbin finally came in, he looked amazing. Yeah. And then he's gone. And then everyone does their stuff and, you know, this person shines, that person shines, and then move on. Like it just, yeah. So I was a little bit bummed But yeah, this was definitely a really fun match, but I didn't feel anything special come out of the pay-per-view.
100%. And I think that this match in a bubble is a good match. The problem I think we had with the match of being too excited about it is you knew what was next. There was no way out of it.
Right.
To me, some of the highlights of this match, though, was Sami Zayn and referee Jessica Carr. They were hysterical.
Yeah, at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, the way that she was like throwing out the camera guys and the way she was being so nice and was like, guys, have a great night, have a good night, I'm gonna need you to move, and like she was just trying to be like so professional and polite. It was so funny. And then during Corbin's entrance, you can hear Sammy, because the camera's so close, going, Corey, screaming to get Corey Graves' attention. It finally cuts back over, and Sammy's all like, did you see? They took away my camera. And Corey's like, yeah. And he's all like, talk about it. And he's like doing the hand motion. So good.
Yeah, actually, in my notes, I said Sami Zayn, his shit talk was real. He was definitely on another level. He's beholding the character for sure.
Yo, and then when the pods were going through and it's like do, you can hear Sami Zayn's voice. Yeah, not mine. Not my pod.
Yeah,
so good.
let me just run Sami Zayn in the character. I told you I love the fucking character, but what I want out of Sami Zayn is what we got in this match is Sami Zayn working too. You can be this character, but if he is wrestling, there's not many better at all of it. So it would be nice to enjoy some of that too, but don't make me hate him because he's not wrestling. Make me hate him because he's, doing a documentary about how everybody fucks him, and it would have been really dope if he had like a secondary camera guy inside the Thunderdome screens or some shit. Like, I caught it all,
Yeah, or like behind the barricade all of a sudden. So good.
Right.
That'd have been awesome. But they were the other thing was when Sammy was keeping his door shut, Jessica Carr, you can see her in the corner of the screen walk off screen, and you see the side door slowly start to open, and then you see her step back into screen, and her face is kind of like like this, kind of like smiling sort of. And I was like, so fucking good. So they were both cracking me up. They're both doing an awesome job. Cesaro hanging from the top, kicking Sami Zayn down, and then doing fucking pull-ups. I fucking love it. I love those little.
Cesaro was huge in this match too. Again, the swing on Corbin looks amazing every time. Yeah. So shout out to both of them on that. And then how about Cesaro getting another tap out on the sharpshooter?
So good.
How much more are they going to put in this guy? And I think I agree with you that maybe he's heading towards Seth going forward. But I think I want more.
Yeah.
I think I'm on that Cesaro bandwagon now, where like, why isn't he the champion?
Yeah, no, I think he's fantastic. I think he's got I don't know enough about making a TV show or booking a wrestling show, so I can't say what's holding him back, this or that. And everyone can speculate because it's really easy to say that people back there are stupid or evil, but I think realistically there's something that is not right for them. I'll be honest with you, I don't want Cesaro in the world title picture right now because of who's in the world title picture right now. I don't see Cesaro
I agree.
outperforming a Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? That's not to dig on Cesaro at all. He's incredible. He's beloved. But Roman Reigns has people talking in a way that they're not talking about Cesaro. So I think it's just a tough spot to be in.
I definitely agree. But, Cesaro's that he was like the Jake the Snake for the mid card or even the tag team, right? You put him in there against the next person that's going to be champion. They're going to look awesome and all that shit. But I think in that context, though, it's now his turn to win those matches.
Yes.
Instead of set somebody else up. Kind of like Natty, right? Natty did that for the longest time. Well, maybe Natty should get some wins. Same thing. I just think Cesaro should get some wins. See how this 100%. Goes. And maybe that's what happens with him going forward.
100%. Kuro's in the chat saying, woo. Yeah. And he says he was 4 out of 5 for predictions on the Chamber, which is pretty good. Producer said we got some chat in the YouTube. What's going on?
Yeah, we got Sod 72p. They microphones. They had microphones in their pods, right?
Oh, were the microphones in the pods in Elimination Chamber? I don't think so. I think the cameras were just close enough. It seemed loud. And I'll be honest, I think part of it also could just be that it's an empty arena still. It doesn't look like it to us at home because of the Thunderdome. But ultimately, I mean, Bayley can still hear Michael Cole on commentary when they're out there.
Wait, you meant the Thunderdome?
Thunderdome? Yes. Yeah. Thunderdome. I think it's a lot more echoey than you think. So I think that the cameras were just close enough to where we heard a lot, but it does feel like they might be mic'd. So to be honest, if someone said, "Hey, they actually slipped a mic in their pods this time," I wouldn't be shocked, but I also don't know. All right, well, let's see. Overall, though, I did like the match a lot. I thought it was good. I was really hoping Sami Zayn was going to win and then get a 10-count count-out victory over Roman Reigns, because then he can be celebrating his victory, and then when they say "and still champion Roman Reigns," and then Roman could beat the shit out of him out of anger because he foiled him and fooled him because he's just the smart strategist that is Sami Zayn. And then you'd have a whole fucking segment on his documentary about how he beat the Universal Champion but didn't get the title. And about how 10 counts are much more difficult than 3 counts. It would have been perfect.
No, it wouldn't have, but that's all right.
I hate you sometimes. It would have been so good. But instead, we got Daniel Bryan winning again. So Daniel Bryan wins, and he's in a match with Roman. And I do really like that he reversed a spear into a yes lock. But then he got his ass fucking handed to him in a minute and a half, and that's what it is. So that was only the bummer to me was that. Go ahead. What was that?
Rewatching that part, and I tell you, even rewatching the exact ending of this Elimination Chamber match, because it goes from KO stunning everybody to when I think it was Sammy that had to leave, Jay smashing KO with the door, and then eliminating KO, and then the circle of ass whoopings that happened for Daniel Bryan to actually win. Like, I knew Daniel Bryan won, but as they were setting up for the finish, I was like, oh shit, anybody at this moment can win. Yeah. I mean, that's that kind of shit we don't get often. So, but Daniel Bryan winning, and then the way they kept using the camera to show you how defeated Daniel Bryan was. So I guess when I said there was no like high drama, it was only during that last sequence that it actually existed. And then, like you said, the spear reversal into the yes lock was just phenomenal. I know we popped big for that on the watch along.
Yeah, that was big. You actually see Corey and Michael Cole pop big for it too. As he hits it in the camera shot in the background, you see both Michael Cole and Corey jump up and like start kind of bouncing because they're like, "Oh my god!" Like they couldn't believe that they saw it themselves. Like they both still got excited about it, and I was like, "That's why I love those two, because they don't just emote." They allow it to take over them. I love it. But yeah, I mean, that match, you can't, there's not a lot to say about that match. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was what it was. It was short. Does it make you want Daniel Bryan and Roman again? Do you feel like we got teased enough to say maybe, or do you feel like that just basically said, yeah, forget it?
No, when I got out of my own way of thinking about it, because my first way of thinking was, oh, well, this just shows you that we don't need Daniel Bryan and Roman. But when I think it was you that mentioned it, actually, I know it was you that mentioned it. No, this teases how vulnerable Daniel Bryan can make Roman look. Mm-hmm. He went through that entire hellacious match, and in the first move of the match, he's now in a victory style move, a finisher. Yeah. You know, he's in a finisher in the first move of the match. That's how vulnerable Daniel Bryan can make Roman Reigns. What can Daniel Bryan do at the beginning of the match? Yeah. So I think if you look at it in that context, we could be heading for something special. Just not right now. Yeah, I agree 100%. Let's see. As we keep it moving, United States Championship, Bobby Lashley. Bobby! Hey, yo, Bobby! Well, you can't gloss over Edge.
What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. You can talk about that. Bring it up. Say it.
Yeah, because Edge made it a point to come in and spear Roman and let him know that WrestleMania it's on. So Edge finally picked his opponent, and it was the best Edge spear I've seen. I hate his spear because it always looks like a body clothesline. It was a really good one on Roman, and
this one stuck.
The way Roman Yeah, the way Roman stepped to Edge on Friday with his hands behind his back, Edge kneeled next to him with his hands behind his back, whispered into his ear, "Motherfucker, me and you at WrestleMania." At least that's what he told me. So.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, I think. Yeah, I mean, Roman made it look like he may have cracked a rib.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, I put out a meme I created from SmackDown where Roman is whispering into Edge's ear, and Edge just has this look on his face, and everyone's like, what did he say? And I put the little screenshot from Along Came Polly when
Yes.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, he goes, I tried to fart and a little bit of shit came out. I feel like right here, that's what was happening here too. I think that Edge was bringing it back up when he goes and leans into his ear. I think he went, I know what you mean. I also sharted a minute ago. Right on the spear, the impact, you know?
Sure. It's the excitement of WrestleMania. It makes everybody sharp.
Oh, dude, you can't help it. It's like an oily discharge. In the chat, Grim Reaper says, I can easily see Bryan versus Reigns at Fastlane, maybe in a tag with Edge against Roman and Jay. I could see that too. I could see Daniel Bryan getting all up in arms and saying, nah, fuck this, Roman. You're not going to WrestleMania, you bitch. And he goes, did you say that? Did you really say that? And he goes, yeah, I said, bitch. And then they have a one-on-one, and Edge is all like, yeah, what the fuck ever, win-win for me. I'll spear both of you until you shart, you know? Bishop, you on board with that? Or?
I mean, I don't care how many people shart. You don't have to keep announcing it on TV and Twitter, but
what's the point of Twitter if not to spread the joy?
Thank you, Bishop. God.
no, I think Fastlane could be what it is. I'm not going to fantasy book Fastlane. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't really think we know what we're going to get on anything anyway, because they're doing a world title match on Raw next week. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I do think that I do get the idea that we probably will get a Roman Daniel Bryan one-on-one, like you said. And like you said, maybe not right now, but you know, at some point it's going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked if it appeared on a Fastlane. But after that, Edge says, I'm going to WrestleMania to kick your ass because I'm the tribal chief. And he showed he's got new tribal sleeves. If you didn't watch, you check it out. Edge has a whole new tribal tattoo all over his body just to prove his point. What? What? We reported it. We're wrestling journalists now. And if it turns out that's not the case, it's just because plans changed and he wasn't able to get them done or something. Or
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Plans may have changed.
They may have changed. Let's see. Then you get the United States Championship match. You got Bobby Lashley against Riddle and John Morrison. Johnny Mundo. This is one where Riddle gets the pin over Morrison to get the title. He gets the pin by smashing a crutch in babyface fashion over Bobby Lashley's back over and over again. Bobby Lashley sells the crutch hits, but doesn't even take a knee. He kind of dives out and stands around and walks back and forth like, Vic, my back. Kind of like Family Guy with the knee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's doing that. But Matt Riddle, like a babyface, uses an actual weapon to assault the heel to get a victory, as every babyface does, and gets the United States Championship. What do you think of this match, man?
It was actually pretty fun. It was better than I thought it was going to be. Morrison looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he's so good.
I don't know why he's back, except for what seems like comfort and the ability to hang out with a buddy, which is great. But from seeing the pre-show to Elimination Chamber to Raw, Morrison is on this trend of being undeniable on TV. So there's a chance that going forward we get a little bit of more Morrison. That's my biggest takeaway from the match. I can't stand Matt Riddle on TV. He drives me insane. Every time they put a mic in his hand, I think my interest level goes even further down. If he goes unmiked and wants to wrestle, I'm all here for it. And then I didn't realize how much they were setting up with Bobby Lashley going forward. It's like you said, with the crutch hits to look that strong, the way he looked strong on Monday. and even what MVP and everything he was doing as far as the setup for what was happening going forward. So they planted seeds real well.
Yeah, they did. They did. Justin Time says Morrison is so good. He really needs to be by himself. I agree 100%. I thought the worst thing that happened when he came back, I was like, this is incredible. I can't believe he's back. Can't wait to hear the new music he has because his last music was just garbage. And then he comes out to the same music, and I was like, what? And then he's immediately followed by Miz, and I was like, what? I thought he left to get away from this. What is going on? So I 100% think he needs to be on his own, and I wish he would change his music. But it is what it is. He's fantastic. And I do think that they did a lot here, with MVP and Bobby Lashley and getting them set up. And Bobby Lashley, he never looked even an ounce of weak, which made me think immediately. I was like, is we getting a Bobby Lashley-Drew McIntyre fight at some point? It's still possible. So, yeah, pretty good match. And like you said, as long as Riddle's not talking, I'm into it. I'm bought in. Here's my problem with Matt Riddle. He's so good in the ring, and his character is so annoying and dumb to me that I can't be emotionally invested in any of his wins or losses. But I do know that every time I see him in the ring, it will be a good match. I just won't care of the outcome, which is a shame.
Right.
Every time he wins, I go, oh, okay. Yeah. And when he loses, I go, oh, all right. But during the match, I'm all like, so good, right? He's clean. He's good. Hits hard. Hits so hard. So, I don't know. That's my thing. Let's see. We can keep it moving. Women's Tag Team Championship match. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, the champions, against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. It's boss time. What? Is that not how you do your show?
No, it's not how I do my show.
Yeah,
I'm
random
too
impression.
stoic to have that much personality for no reason.
Well, some people is big for no reason. My personality is big for no reason.
That's true.
My favorite thing was doing a guest spot on Somewhere Else, and producer was like, hey, are you going to try and tone it down? I was like, what do you mean tone what down? And I was like, she's like, well, they just might not be expecting you. And I was like, do you think do you think that I'm a gimmick? She goes, I think they think you're a gimmick. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yep, that's the problem.
I was like, all right. She's like, they don't know that you're just like this all the time, annoying the shit out of me in the house. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. What do you think of this match? You said it was in the runnings for you as far as best match. Go ahead and talk about it.
It was clean. It was clean. I mean, and I'm not a Bianca guy. I do think she has a lot of work to do. I did think she slowed down. Or maybe I was just that enamored with the white and black Shayna outfit that I thought was silver all night.
I'm looking at it right now. It's white with silver trim. I'll give you that.
Yeah. No, I thought it was good, man. I thought it was fun. I'm curious though that Sasha's looking weak. Or I guess vulnerable. I don't want to use vulnerable too much, but her getting distracted by Reginald for what? Yeah. I think she's been more important to the women's division than to be forced to be distracted, because Reginald's interjecting himself to cause a distraction that's not supposed to be caused. You know what I mean? So it's making Sasha look like the dumb one for even entertaining it. Yeah, big dummy. She was too stupid to go through the door. Ding dong hello. Fucking idiot. True. Should have went through the door. Should have gone through the door. Idiot. She knows Bailey. She's been to that door before. That's true. Leah Moonlight's in the chat. Cheers to Leah Moonlight. Says, hey, that's love. There's annoying the shit out of each other.
Yeah, when you're talking about me.
Oh, yeah, when I was talking about producer. I thought you were talking about Reginald and Sasha for a second, and I was like, oh, shit. You think Reginald and Sasha are like an item? That's
No.
the one that makes the outfits? I didn't realize.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, no, that's fair, too. Cheers to that, too.
I have a random thought.
Random thought by producer?
I am just really hoping that Ding Dong Hello eventually sees the real Ellen and I want WrestleMania with Ellen and Bailey on Ding Dong Hello.
Yeah. I think the
Coming
idea
out
of Ellen
dancing.
actually being on Ding Dong Hello would be phenomenal. Be so good.
Book it. You're
Oh
welcome.
yeah, she has a pseudo relationship with WWE. She's worked with John Cena a few times. I mean, didn't Cena co-host her show or some shit like that? Wasn't he like a guest host?
Yeah, he did something like that. He also came out once with Ellen DeGeneres towel that he threw into the audience.
He had patches on his shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His jorts, yeah. Let's see. Just
I
in
think
time
these
says
were actually a khaki camo, but
those cargo camo pants. Let's see.
yes, exactly.
Just in time says the only thing about this tag match I hated was there was Sasha felt like the only one that could eat the pin, especially since Bianca has to continue to look strong until a WrestleMania match. Yes, if they had to do a pin, you could have also just had a DQ and let that be that. It didn't have to go that way. But here's what I wonder. Let me drop the bomb on you. I know we're going to get into it with a little more detail come Raw, I think. Otherwise, if we just talk about it, we just talk about it, whatever. I wonder, with them trying to buddy Bianca and Sasha so much, if we're actually building towards Bianca and Charlotte. Because once Charlotte takes the title off Asuka, which will definitely happen because it turns out Raw is obsessed with Charlotte more than anything else in the history of Raw, that it could easily be, now that Bianca and Sasha are buddies, that Bianca could be starting getting swayed by Sasha. Girl, you don't need my title. Charlotte's the queen. She's Mrs. WrestleMania. That would really make a statement if you beat her. Then you get maybe Bianca going like, I don't know, let me think about it. You see Bianca go off somewhere, and then you see Bailey come walking up being like, hey, looks like you're going through some stuff. Hey, I know we've had our troubles. But if I could give you a little bit of advice, beating Charlotte would put you on the map. What did beating Sasha ever get me? A talk show. You know what I mean? And then dipping out. And then you get Bianca saying, I want you, Charlotte, at Elimination. Because that's what it's going to sound like to me. That's what I wonder if we're going to. Bishop, what do you think?
I think that is a terrible wrestling take.
God damn it. On my own show.
It's terrible because I don't want it to happen, and it makes so much sense that it probably will happen. It irks me, and we can talk about that when we get to the Raw segment of this. I can easily see that happening, and I think it's because there's a wealth of talent, believable champions portrayed on SmackDown and not enough on Raw, and they haven't built a disdain between Sasha and Bianca. They actually seem to get closer and closer every week, so I can see that happening. It happening is absolutely terrible. I don't want that at all.
Yeah. And you would then get, on the flip side, you'd get Bianca and Charlotte doing whatever it is they do, because Bailey would talk Bianca away from the title. You could get back to a scenario where we could have Sasha versus Bailey at WrestleMania, which, as much as I try not to fantasy book for pity or for coolness sake of how nice for these people, because we'll get into that too, it would be nice for Sasha and Bailey to have a one-on-one at WrestleMania just for the books. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, absolutely. I thought that's what you were actually going to say during your fantasy booking segment there. I thought you were actually going to say that, because if we don't get Bianca Sasha for the sake of 15, 22, maybe even a half hour of Sasha Bailey just beating the shit out of each other at WrestleMania, yeah, sign me up. Because
I got no complaints.
The two of them, I mean, when they had the opportunity to shine, they never let us down. So if they're going into WrestleMania knowing that they have an allotment of time, it's going to be hard to beat them, regardless of who's on the card.
100%. I feel like when Sasha and Bailey sit down to put together a match together, they say, hey, I know last time we did a classic. You think we should just do another classic? And they go, yeah, I guess we'll do another classic. And then they do that.
Right.
And you go, fuck. How can you beat those two? So yeah, I mean, that was the footnote of the Bianca Charlotte, but I think that we might be getting towards a Bianca Charlotte, because I think that the people who booked the show think that what's greater in the world than Charlotte doing anything. So we'll find out. Justin Times in the chat saying anything doing with Charlotte is nauseating. I'm going to table that discussion for Raw. But here we are. Nia Jax gets the pin over Sasha Banks, the sitting champion, and we talk about who's going to face Sasha Banks, and Nia's name is not brought up. This will be important as we get into Raw. The last match on the card for Elimination Chamber was the WWE Championship match of Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles versus Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. I don't know, man. This really did feel a lot like, hey, how can Drew McIntyre beat a bunch of champions in one night? We said it in the beginning. Hey, is there a way that he could just beat everybody real quick? Yeah, we'll do it in an Elimination Chamber match. And then that happened. And I thought we got real close to having Sheamus win it, and I thought that would have been fucking spectacular.
Yeah.
But that's what happened.
Yeah, I thought,
go ahead.
When you put that thought in my head, because you've definitely laid out the fact that Drew McIntyre is being back built as the greatest champion of all time. He's got every legend on his list. And then here's an opportunity for him to now put 5 more victories in one match. I thought we were going to get some type of Drew looking completely dominant, and we didn't get that, which was a breath of fresh air for me in a Drew match. I was like, okay, Drew is taking his lumps. He's got a victory here or there, but he's not doing the Braun Strowman thing. He's not doing the Shayna Baszler thing. Okay.
True. He didn't eliminate everybody, and it didn't take everyone's finishing kick out. He did not do those two things. So, yeah, kudos there. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, Kofi, as always, was a star. I thought he did fantastic. I thought Randy was awesome. Who's it? Randy and Jeff started, right?
Yes.
I'm not a Jeff guy, but this match kind of did cap it off for me, only because I led myself to believe that Sheamus as a champion would just look awesome right now. That I was let down that Drew did win, but I did kind of feel the Miz thing happening, even though I missed during the watch along the Miz talking to MVP and how they were planting the seeds all night. But anyway, this was the culminating factor, even in the rewatch, that it was like a heightened version of Raw. This was any 3-man tag scenario or 6-man tag scenario. or gauntlet match like they have. It's like, okay, this guy against that guy, then that guy against that guy, and then this one pins that one, and then so it was good. It was really, really good. It wasn't a waste of my time. It just didn't feel like a pay-per-view.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. I don't have anything to add on that match other than it was just what I thought it was, which is why I wasn't into it. But there were highlights within it for sure. But then you get the man of the hour, Bobby Lashley.
And that's his Leo Rush impression.
That's Leo Rush, yeah. Bobby Lashley comes out and beats the shit out of Drew McIntyre. Just makes him shard himself. And then Miz... What?
The whole time, that match, I was like, oh, so Bobby's a face now? The whole time.
Oh, yeah. Bobby turned face in this household. Once you start beating the shit out of Drew, we're cheering, we're clapping. We said, this is the babyface turn we've been waiting for.
I forgot about your caveat. As long as you lay hands on McIntyre, you're a babyface.
Yeah, you're a babyface now, buddy. Yeah. So he does his thing. Miz comes running out, cashes in. He catches eyes with Bobby and MVP. They look at him. They walk towards the back and all of that. Miz cashes in. He does his first move or two. Drew kicks out. And I'm all like, if this motherfucker doesn't drop this goddamn belt to the Money in the Bank, I'm going to be pissed. And then he does the skull frushing finale. What? Is that not what it is? I think it's the skull fucking finale. No? Whatever it is.
That's a different pay-per-view.
That's a whole other pay-per-view. It's still on demand.
Can we watch along on Twitch to that? Is that allowed?
That's allowed, yeah. So Miz finishes with the skull fucking and gets the pin and the win. As soon as he hit it, too, I was all like, wait a second, that's a pretty well-protected move. This is really the moment. Is Drew going to be this level of shitty, or is this going to be the moment they cap it on Miz for a second? Miz gets the win. Everyone pretends they hate it. And the only thing we said was, well, yeah, it's fine Miz wins. Here's the thing. I don't understand at all this internet narrative that everybody hates that Miz won it. I don't buy that at all. No one cares that he won it, and that's the problem. No one hates that he won it because they all look at him. And here's the thing. The people who talk about it are these people on their high horses who said, if you don't understand that he's a transitional champion, then you're getting worked. He's a heel. You're supposed to hate it. You're not listening. No one cares that he won it. They don't hate him. They're not booing he won it. They're booing the fact that it's obvious he's a transitional champion. I want a champion who feels like he could hold it for more than a week. But then the fucking bets started coming in. How long does he hold it for? 1 week, 2 weeks? Does he hold it all the way to Fastlane even? I want, more than anything, for Miz to hold this all the way to WrestleMania. Just because anything else, this is what it looks like to me. Tell me where I land on this, Bishop. Be the judge here. If Miz loses this title before WrestleMania, then this whole thing is what it already appears to be, which is a thinly veiled, vapid attempt at trying to give Drew McIntyre his pity party storyline that boo-hoo, poor me, I won the championship in an empty warehouse, and Drew deserves better because how hard is it for him as a champion to be holding this title during a pandemic era? Like, he's the only fucking person who's held a title during the pandemic era. Like, Bayley and Sasha didn't up the game when it came to the pandemic era. Like, Roman didn't come in without fans and make a difference. If we're going to have a pity party for Drew, where's Braun Strowman's? Because arguably the thing that Braun Strowman suffered the most from was not having fans in the audience. No one else suffered the way Braun did on that. So where's Braun's redo if we're going to do a redo for Drew? And that's my problem, is I don't get behind a champion whose entire story is poor me, I didn't get fans to cheer me, and then writes a fucking book about being the champion. Bishop, that's my rant. What's your take?
It's not a terrible wrestling take. So you're 1 for 1. You're 1 and 1.
All right. 1 and 1.
Yeah, no, look, I agree with you, and I don't want to join the narrative on that because I think it could land to the pre-COVID Roman era where it's like hate you for the sake of hate you, because it sounds kind of like that's where you land on that. But
no,
like, again,
I don't hate you for the sake of hate
well.
you. I hate you pity party fucking storylines. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well, because here's the thing: when like I don't watch much of The Bump or Raw Talk or anything like that. But there was some Drew McIntyre stuff that I've seen, pre-champion, post-champion, and he seems like a genuine guy who wants to get his spot, his Drew Galloway, to turn into Drew McIntyre on TV and be that guy because he knows what that guy means to us. So cool. That's step one for me, right? Want to be that guy, get there and do it for the right reasons. Okay. Everything he's done on screen, I have zero investment. So when it comes to like a Roman Reigns in the same scenario, who do you think can beat Roman Reigns? Nobody. Who do you want to beat Roman Reigns? Everybody, because he's doing his job perfectly. He is a champion that you do not think can be beat, and you want him to get his ass whooped as great as he's doing. And it's not going to happen, and you know it's not going to happen, and you're still going to watch. But why did I watch a main event of a pay-per-view with a champion who's basically been a champion for an entire year and go, okay, cool. And then The Miz wins, and I go, damn it, why didn't the Miz beat him fucking 3 months ago when he got Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
Everything makes sense if you tell the right story. They haven't done that. That's why people don't care that The Miz has it. The Miz wasted Money in the Bank for months as far as, when again, we talked about it pre-Royal Rumble. That promo with Gilbert and McIntyre on Miz TV Miz looked ready to cash in on whoever won that match at Royal Rumble. He looked ready to go. It was the best he looked. The last month, it hasn't translated. Is this a waste? I don't care, because it's not going to do anything for me. What's going to happen if Miz retains the title all the way to WrestleMania? Miz is going to do it in the way people hate the Miz. He's going to cheat his way out of it. He's not going to do it by wrestling. And that's kind of a problem I have with this storyline, because if Miz does it by wrestling and proves to the people he deserves to be champion by wrestling, I'm all for it. That's the right story to tell, because the Miz can wrestle. He's done a great job over like the last 4 years. He's been phenomenal. I consider him untouchable. But when you put him in this position to now defend himself, the only way he's done it at this level, defending himself, is by running away and having cop-outs. And I don't think we're in a good place.
Yeah. And I think that we're in a spot where when Miz wins it, you don't think, oh shit, Miz has the title. He's gonna be Weasley to get out of it. You think to yourself, wait, haven't we watched Miz just lose every single match on the way here, including handicap matches? Miz can't hold on to that. That's what you think. You look at it and your first thought isn't how long is he going to hold this hostage by being a weasel. You think how quickly and who's going to take it off of him.
Right.
That's the problem I have with it is when you have a Money in the Bank and there's a cash in like an Edge or a Daniel Bryan, who was the most recent besides then, Dean Ambrose, to be honest, Brock Lesnar. When Brock Lesnar cashes that shit in, you go, well, fuck. He just took that title in a match that didn't even strain him, and now no one's going to get it off of him. Daniel Bryan, you go, well, yeah, but that motherfucker can out-wrestle anybody. You know what I mean? Edge gets it, and you're like, well, yeah, but, I mean, good fucking luck getting it off of Edge. He's going to fight his heart out. With Miz, you go, oh, well, that dude loses all. He's not good. He just loses. You know what I mean? And, like, from the kayfabe sense, from the I love getting work sense, you watch him wrestle, he loses all the time. Oh, he's not very good at this. He can't even win when it's 2-on-1. He can't win when it's 3-on-1. He's not going to hold it. That's my problem with it. If they had booked him strong going into here, and if he was cheating a bunch to win going into here, I'd go, fuck, man, this guy's on a tear. I don't know.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Yeah, and that's my problem with it. And I don't hate Drew to hate Drew's sake. I hate that his entire storyline, when you really pull back and look at it, is poor Drew McIntyre. He had to win the title without a bunch of fans there to cheer for him. He got that huge pop at Rumble, man. You think Braun Strowman loved the fact that he beat Goldberg in front of nobody?
Right.
Braun Strowman loved Goldberg as a kid. Just having that match. There's a chronicle on Braun Strowman. He talks about the idea of going into the match before the match even happens.
Well, there's a chronicle on both of them.
Oh, there's chronicles on everybody.
We're telling.
That's true. And they were both really telling.
They were.
The Braun Strowman one, he's talking about how grateful he is to even be in a match with Goldberg, and he's crying. Drew McIntyre talks about going into a match against Brock Lesnar, and he goes, oh, yeah, I've been deserving this a long time. Oh, yeah, I mean, I got soft for a minute, but I've been working thinking, oh, if I was in a match with Brock Lesnar, what am I going to do? So I'm ready. I'm going to do it. Boop. Fuck, man.
It was a pretty good McIntyre. It was a pretty good McIntyre.
You know,
don't encourage him.
But
yeah. Don't encourage him.
Yeah. Working on my promos, thinking, oh, how to do a promo against Paul Heyman. Like, fuck. I don't care, man. And then you got his wife on the side being like, they handed you everything. He goes, yeah, but no. You're like, fuck, man. So it was hard to get behind Drew McIntyre when you see that. But it was easy to get behind Braun Strowman thinking this match means so much to this guy. So the fact that we're going to have a pity party storyline for Drew and not a make it right moment for Braun, it fucking erases it for me. I'm like, why do you want me to care? I don't care that you won it without fans there because of how you've been presented since then even. This arrogance all the time. I'm not saying the guy's not talented, but go ahead.
No. That's been my problem with Braun since I've been watching. Braun has always seemed, and this is weird, right? Braun's what, 6'8", 1,000,000 pounds, got fucking muscles on his earlobes. I mean, but he still seems like he's ours. Like the fans want more for him than what we get. And Braun has never been treated the way that McIntyre has. And that's even a territory I don't like going down. But just from a title match presentation, Braun has never gotten the treatment where he was allowed to, especially, I mean, COVID-wise, right? He wins the title. He has to deal with The Fiend and go through this whole story that's not even about him.
Yeah.
Yet everything that we've done with McIntyre has been about McIntyre. When are we going to get that same showing for Braun? And it's definitely not after Monday night. But so I agree with you, but I try not to take the entire yesterday and all behind that when I consider McIntyre, because there's got to be something that I can get invested to, and I'm waiting for that. It's not happening.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. That's the point, is the fact that that is his storyline. His entire storyline is poor me. When you watch him on interviews and you see the bump and you see the Raw talk, it's all, oh, can you imagine how hard it is to be WWE champion while there's no fans? I just feel so bad for McIntyre. He's just such an incredible champion to do this during a pandemic era of all times. This is incredible. He's doing the best work of any champion in the history of all times. And you guys like, relax, guys. Sasha and Bayley made women's wrestling the most important must-watch TV of all of wrestling during the pandemic era, regardless of McIntyre's shit. Still, as much as I talk shit about the ratings, and I'll do it, and I'll continue to do it, the highest rated segments of all the pandemic era were Sasha Bayley segments and Sasha Bayley matches. So it's possible to get fan interest during that time. So let's please stop making the story just be poor McIntyre, and please let this story be something bigger than that, because I can be behind McIntyre if it's bigger than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Make it feel earned and not mistaken from 10 years ago or whenever he was the chosen one. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And bottom line, that's my problem with the idea of Miz as the champ, is that it comes down to, if this whole thing is to just give Drew that moment he deserves, then fuck him. Boo. Yeah. Boo. That's all there is to it for me as far as that goes. In the chat, Justin says, the thing that annoyed me the most was the aftermath. All these people that were so against Miz all of a sudden just hopped on the bandwagon like they were fans the whole time. That's true, too. That's hysterical. I mean, I have not been... I think I said it on episode 1. I'm not a big Miz fan. This isn't me celebrating Miz as a champion. This is me celebrating Money in the Bank as a successful cash-in, because it's been like 6 or 7 years apart from Brock Lesnar since we've had a successful cash-in, and Miz failed to cash in before. If this cash-in failed, I'd have been fucking furious, because it's like the fucking Money in the Bank has to mean something. But I celebrated the idea of the Money in the Bank cash-in being successful. But again, as far as like Miz being the champion, it's neither here nor there. It depends on where this goes, and that's what I'm hoping on. Because he's also is good enough. Like you said, he's so good. He could hold his title to WrestleMania believably by being a shithead. I just wish he was a shithead coming into it, so I believe that going forward. If this dude loses it next week, I mean, I guess I'll be like, cool, Bobby Lashley. But that brings us to Raw, because it opened up with The Miz coming out with his celebratory title on Miz TV with John Morrison, and Bobby Lashley coming out saying, fuck you, dude, give me my title. He said, fuck you, pay me.
That's what I heard.
Yep.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I thought Miz on the microphone has just been incredible. He's been so good when he's put in position to be the one carrying, like when he has to bounce back and forth with Morrison, it's too hokey. It's too hokey.
That's
when
true.
He's the one that has to carry the segment with the microphone by himself. When he has to hammer home the point by himself, he's doing great work. But yeah, when he bounces back and forth with Morrison, it's too much. And then, I was surprised, and it of course made sense that the Hurt Business, and they made a deal. I mean, fucking when they first formed, what did he say? We're open for business. Like they made a deal with WWE to take out Retribution. Like they are that.
Yep.
Duh. Got worked. Like
yeah, and then MVP, someone showed it. I don't know if you saw it or not, but someone showed the clip where MVP in the VIP room after Drew McIntyre, when he tried to bring in Drew McIntyre, and then Drew McIntyre claymores him because he's a heel who just fucking claymores people for no goddamn reason because he's a bad guy and no one catches that. MVP says next week, he said, when Drew McIntyre loses that title, just know that MVP will play a part in that. And McIntyre's all like, oh, fuck you, dude. And then what happened?
Is that what he said?
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck you, I'm going home. Yeah.
You sound more like a South Park character
Yeah.
than.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre and Cartman are equal in my book. MVP. So he leaves, and then MVP's all like, yeah, fuck that dude. Check this out. And then here he is. Boom. Bada boom. Bada bobby. Get out there and fuck him up, dude. Fucks him up. Now here we are.
Who fucked up his eyebrows? Lashley's eyebrows are crazy. What the fuck is that? I mean, I'm not going to say it to his face.
I wish you would.
And this is your show.
That's a good point. I wish you would.
That's
Bobby
all,
Lashley,
like,
I think you have the most beautiful eyebrows.
he
Over at TW
was
Takes
like the most intense presentation of Bobby Lashley, and I kept staring at his fucked up eyebrows. I'm like, come on, man.
What are you talking about? What happened to his eyebrows? I'm trying to look for a picture right now because I'm like, the fuck?
They're like painted on. And the way they're painted on, it's not good, man.
Grim Reaper said it's like McIntyre's in the room.
It's like McIntyre's in the
Even the
room right
misses,
now.
though, they should have just left them off.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, maybe Lana was helping him with his eyebrows.
No, they're divorced. Duh.
They're
They
divorced,
probably
man.
still support each other.
Doubtful.
There's a very good chance they support each other and in their
They are on
future
the same
endeavors. I'm trying to find a picture of his eyebrows, man. I want them. I
Don't you have
want
a
these
producer,
eyebrows. I found a picture. I'm zooming in right now. It's him celebrating. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to publicly disagree with Bishop, but I'm sending you a DM right now. What? Let's see. Oh, I pulled up the wrong fucking... This can't be right. It says Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton defeats Drew McIntyre? The fuck am I looking at? No, this is wrong. This is wrong. I'm on the wrong thing, dude. Oh, yeah, that's from February.
Only
8th.
episode 1.
This is bad. It's only episode 1. Let's see. So it opens up with Miz. He does his thing. Bobby Lashley says, fuck you, pay me. Let's see. After that, I mean, there's some U.S. Championship stuff. Oh, you got John Morrison versus Riddle. That was a great match.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Those guys have great chemistry together. But again, this was another case of I knew I was going to get a great match. I also didn't care the outcome. I at no point jumped out of my seat out of excitement for anything at all. I just was all like, this is good. This is very good.
Yeah, just for my own, because, you know, you have to do a reality check, right? Do I DVR Raw? Do I watch it live? And if I'm not wasting my time, they're going to show it to me in the ring. And this is one of those things where we got Morrison and we got him for a chunk of time, and he didn't let us down. So
Yeah.
I'm never going to be mad at that. It was definitely a fun match.
Yeah, very good. I like how hard-hitting Riddle is, to be honest. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's see other things happen. Oh, Damian Priest and Bad Bunny, dude. Bad Bunny is probably the best champion on Raw.
Yeah, I feel like he's actually bringing legitimacy
The most
to the
respected
24/7
champion on Raw.
Yep, most viewed champion on Raw. He's probably arguably the the most must-see champion. That dude has brought a prestige to the 24/7 title that has been unheard of.
I mean, he had it on Saturday Night Live. I mean, it was in full camera view during a musical performance. I mean,
He sang a love song to that title. Make no mistakes about it. That song was not about anything other than that title. The way that man looks at the ugliest title in the history of the business. It's fucking beautiful.
we're not here talking about AEW, okay? Their world title is trash, dude. Their world title sucks.
I don't like it, but I get why people do, so I leave that one alone. Because there's a few world championships that look similar to it that I also go, too much plate. But neither here nor there. This is a pea green with a urine yellow plate that he sang to like it was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen in his life. It was amazing on Saturday Night Live. Here's the other thing. This is how wrestling fans are, because I'm one of them. I hear Bad Bunny's going to be on Royal Rumble. I go, who dat? People go, oh. I go, okay. He comes out. He sings. I go, all right. He goes to Saturday Night Live with the title 24/7. And I go, why the fuck is there not wrestling on Saturday Night Live? He should be defending it in every segment. This thing should be changing hands. How in the hell did Bad Bunny, the most viewed and downloaded musician on the planet, not defend the title on Saturday Night Live? How did this happen? Do they not understand who Bad Bunny is? That's how I am as a wrestling fan.
He's yours now. He's
mine.
now ours. He's no longer the internet's Bad Bunny. To me, he was just the guy from the Corona commercial. I was like, okay.
Yep.
I saw his name on some music titles that I was listening to. Okay, that's who Bad Bunny is. Oh shit, he's in a Corona commercial. Cool. And then I'll never back down. From the second Pat McAfee came around, in my head, all I needed to know was, are they here for us? Are they going to put in the work? Is it going to be entertaining? If those three things hit, I don't care who it is. I do not care who it is. And there's plenty of celebrities that come around and they make it about themselves. Bad Bunny's not doing that. And I mean, they're treating him very, very well.
It's amazing. He's one of us now.
Damian Priest looks so official. And he's done nothing.
Dude, here's the deal too, is Bad Bunny treats Damian Priest like he's the rock star.
Yes.
In everything he does. Bad Bunny wants to be around Damian Priest. And I'm like, what? This is incredible. Yes. This guy is so fucking cool. And do you see his Instagram posts?
No.
Motherfucker's getting like Sears catalog sort of like couple photos with this thing. He loves this title.
Shit.
This is like the biggest thing that ever happened to him. He's like taking pictures in the snow with it, where he's like holding it and looking at it. Sun's coming down over top of them, glaring a little bit, lens flare.
What Sears catalog are you looking at?
I keep the old ones. Producer had something she wanted to say.
Stop. Thank you, Just in Time, for gifting a subscription.
Yeah, Just in Time gave a sub to Grim Reaper, who said nothing about it. The hell, Grim? You're better than that.
Cheers, Justin, the man.
Yeah,
cheers to Justin. He's the man.
Thanks. Anyone that subscribes to us on Twitch helps us buy a drink and pay for Kevlar's internet. So
that's
helps.
a good point. We've upgraded Kevlar's internet. He'll be back eventually. Now that he's got fast internet, who knows? He might be too busy. And we do get drinks. And it supports the cause. So appreciate all that. But yeah, everything that happened here with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest and Angel Garza, I loved every second of all of it, man.
The R-Truth thing happened before that too, and
yeah,
R-Truth
go ahead.
No, just the whole Bugs Bunny stuff, and then Damian putting him in his place, and it's just when you have an outsider come in and his presentation is legit. Yeah. And it's being legitimized by the wrestlers around them. And Bad Bunny, he looks no bigger than your microphone. I mean, he's not a legit wrestler. He doesn't look like he should keep that title. But that's what she said. But what's happening around Bad Bunny, it's just
bad dragon.
Stop. Come on.
Sorry.
And welcome Iron Man Z, join the chat.
Was Angel Garza backstage too, or did they just have the match?
They just had the match, as far as I could tell.
Oh.
I didn't see a
yeah,
reason
that's
for it
the only
outside of
time that I felt that they forced Bad Bunny on us was during that match. I'm like, okay, now you're giving us a little bit too much Bad Bunny. We didn't necessarily need. I forgot what spot it was, but I was like, oh, come on, like, don't oversaturate it.
What, with the pants?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Because there was a spot where Garza rips his pants off, as he does. By the way, flat out real quick, I love Angel Garza's look here. The guy's been dressing in shitty couch tapestry for fucking weeks, and now he comes out looking like Hugh Hefner with tearaway pants. I'm on board. Now I think he should be able to fuck everybody. I'm in line now. But before, no way. So
wait, you're in line for what? You said he's fucking everybody. You're in line?
Yeah,
come on, man.
Serving. Hey, man, I'm a groupie and a fan. So So he tears off his pants. He throws them in Bunny's face. And then Bunny's all like, "Oh, fuck you, dude. I don't want your ball sweat on my face." And then Garza's like, "Oh, come in here and do something about it then." He goes, "Nah, never mind."
Yeah, because they kept the camera on Bunny, and he's, pointing behind to Damian Priest, and he's not really acting it up. And, he can easily just sit in a chair, hold the title, look legit, and call it a day. And then, knocking everybody down who came through to contest for the 24/7 title. Now it gets your point taken care of, right? If you come test him, Damian Priest, well, now, so he's defending the title that way. But
yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like they forced it a little bit.
Right, but if Bad Bunny became cartoonishly exaggerating the idea of Damian Priest is behind you, other than just being like, "Hey, dude, you might want to check right behind you. There's a little action behind you. You might want to pay a little more attention to." If he was jumping up and down and being like, then people would be shitting on it. So I thought he did actually a really good job of it.
No, I get it. I just don't think the spot needed to happen. I think we have enough in the Bad Bunny they were giving us. What? But I don't know.
You don't
it
think
is what it is.
No. Oh, whoa, no. Are you missing it, dude? We're building towards a Bad Bunny match at WrestleMania. We're just trying to figure out who's in that match.
No, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest are going to be in that match, and who are they going to face?
Probably Garza now and somebody of his choosing.
Okay.
Now that we're getting there, right?
But you don't have to.
That's how you get there.
Okay. We could have done it all backstage. This week.
Maybe.
Let it build. Yeah, that's all. No, I'm fine with it.
Maybe.
Just let it build. It didn't have to all happen on Monday.
I get it. You want that Garza foreplay. You're not alone. Iron Manzi in the chat. Friend of the show. Iron Manzi, scumbag of Long Island. You might not know anything about that, Bishop. You're from Delaware. I'm kidding. He's not from Delaware. I'm lying. He's not from Delaware. He's from New York. He resides in Delaware. His driver's license says Delaware. But that's neither here nor there. Iron Manzi, scumbag from Long Island. He gave us some bits, and I always appreciate Iron Manzi bits. I've always said that. Let the record show. I'm not hearing Bishop, if you want to double check that.
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just muted yourself? Let me see.
No, I just wasn't talking.
Well, yeah, I hear him now. I didn't know you muted. So I see the video. You just laughing. I was like, I'm hearing nothing. And then was it Justin Thomas says
to the mic?
I mean, it creates an ambiance. It means my joke worked. Either way, Iron Manzi bits always appreciated. I've said that since day one. And then Justin Time says, "Damn Marsh wanting Garza to fuck everybody." Now, I didn't before, but now I'm fuck. Ric Flair can't be the only one. Iron Man says Garza is out here trying to be the new Val Venus. He's not wrong. Give me that. And then Iron Man said, "You be the only." The only person I think looking forward to Iron Manzi bits coming my way. Bits on bits on bits. The Iron Manzi scum is not the only bag I'm interested in. I'm going to go ahead and say that we could move forward on this one. Let's see. New Day versus Retribution. My favorite spot of this was when Reckoning came out and Xavier Woods and Kofi were like, oh, she's back. Because Xavier Woods, more than anything, wants a match with Reckoning. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with Retribution. It's been such an up and down thing that had so much potential. I mean, even after the kickoff show on Sunday, T-Bar, I think, put out the GIF of them grabbing Ricochet out the air and go, "Oh, that's a pretty good tag team." Yeah. And then they get their ass handed to them. And you have the opportunity to do whatever you want as far as WWE goes. You can literally do exactly what you want. It's your show. It's your product. It's your contracts. It's your wrestlers. Everyone that's signed to you, perceivably, wants to be there and do a fantastic job. You have the pulse of what T-Bar and Mace and Slapjack and Retribution and Ali have been doing on Twitter. And you go, "Oh, we'll just give them 60-40 booking. They'll either lose 60% of the time and get some wins, or they'll, win 40%. It just, they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And
Well, but there's an aftermath, right? As some might say, the afterbirth. So people say about matches. So the whole afterwards here is that after the match, after Retribution loses, Ali gets in there and he's taking himself way seriously. And he said, fuck you dudes. Y'all be stupid. You be fucking up. Steady fucking up. What the fuck? And everyone's looking around all sad like, do you think that we're on the cusp of where Retribution turns babyface on Ali and you have these people potentially start to unmask and show their true selves like we see them on in the internet? Because on internet, on Twitter, the old Twitter sphere, the IWC, they be funny as fuck, man. All of Retribution except Ali. He's the only one who doesn't play into those games. And it makes me wonder, are they been doing this long-term Twitter booking, as is popular amongst the wrestlers now, where we have more personality than here, but Ali's taking himself so seriously? Do you think this is where they boot Ali the fuck out?
I can see that. I can see that, and that plays out better than I thought, because I did think it was going to be some type of just beat the shit out of Ali and scrap the whole project. But you're giving life to Retribution and giving them a story. My actual first thought was that this is where Ali is going to actually add a member or even two to teach Retribution, who's there, how to do things and build the steam. Because I want something for Retribution. It's cool. Like they all have a neat look. It's a great concept. The story behind what Ali is doing, it resonates. I get it. And because I get it, I want it to succeed. And they're not doing that. And I think even if you have them start to unmask, will we get something better? Probably. Because if you get Dijak with his mask off, or you get Mia Yim with her mask off, you're getting a better wrestler out of them. But the potential of what Retribution, it's always been there. Yeah. We haven't gotten that. And I would like to see this turn on the up for Retribution. It just, I mean, they lost in what felt like record time, man. I don't know if there is a future for Retribution except for the dismantling.
Well, but they had been winning all of 2021 until this past week. So it kind of leads you to believe, could they go on without Ali in a better sense? I could see the group staying together, but Ali being kicked the fuck out, and maybe somebody else takes charge or something. And I could see that the faction going babyface in a sense. But to be honest, I think of these things because, like you said, there's a lot of potential here. I love everybody involved, and I think all of them are next level talents that are, for whatever reason, floundering around that 2.5 hour mark. Not 2.5 hour mark. What's half of 3? 1.5. But the 1.5, 1 3/4 mark of the show. So right. I think we could see something cool there. I think they're really great. And I consider them friends of the show. They've retweeted some of my art. And there was one time we had a clip here where we talked about how cool the names were for people who didn't understand them, and about how it was great too, because Clump walked right into it. Clump's an idiot. And I can say that because he doesn't listen to the show he's on. Fucking. We'll get back to Manzi. But Clump walked right in, and he's all like, these names are so stupid. They sound like some bullshit biker gang names. And I was like, oh! So we talked about it, and then Mace retweeted it and said, you better be careful with these reasonable takes. The internet won't like you. And I was all like,
I don't think he said the internet won't like. He just said be careful.
Be careful with them? Yeah, well, I think that's what he meant, at least. Let's see. Iron Man's saying Xavier popped him hard for the Retribution excitement, which I thought was great. He's excited about me getting cubes out of the title. Yo, man, when you got a custom title, you go all out. You put a fridge in it. Just in Time says they switched the breakup tease angle from the Hurt Business and Retribution to Retribution, it seems. Yeah, I mean, it's possible because, yeah, they had that whole Cedric Alexander stuff. They're getting him back reined in a little bit, which is good. And then now they're starting to tease it on Retribution. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm interested.
That was my biggest takeaway from the Hurt Business tag matches. It was the first time that they won without looking stupid.
Well, come on. Stupid. I hear you.
No, like,
I hear
you. No, Cedric Alexander always found a way to, look like the fool of the match in one way, shape, or form, and that's not what happened in the Tornado match. But
Good point. But that's what happened there, and I'm excited to see what happens moving forward because I think there's a lot to the Retribution gimmick and the characters within and the people behind those masks because they good, man. They real good. Let's see, as we keep breaking it down a little bit, they had the segment in the middle there where Adam Pearce says, it's been an hour, because Bobby Lashley said, you got 1 hour before I fuck you. And then Adam Pearce is like, it's been an hour.
Everybody be fucking on Raw.
Everybody be fucking on Raw, dude. Lacey gets pregnant. I don't know. I'm just saying, Miz is about to get pregnant. Here he comes. Adam Pearce says, Bobby Lashley, come on down. And he goes, don't mind if I do. Comes on down, wearing his gear with a zipper in the front. Then you got what bottle? And then you got Adam Pearce saying, Miz, you better come on out here. He comes out in his same old suit, and Bobby Lashley's like, oh, I'm gonna tear the back off that, dude. What are you doing? Then you got Braun Strowman coming out saying, all y'all fucking with me, and I'm going to give these hands to all of y'all's crotches. Shane McMahon comes out. Here comes the money. Emphasis on the comes. He comes down.
Stop.
Gives them all the money. Gives them all the lip service. And says, hey, we could have Braun Strowman versus a Bobby Lashley.
Bishop's just putting his hand over his face.
What? Is that not how this happened? I feel like this is how that happened.
Nope, not at all.
And then Shane's all like, oh, Braun Strowman, you's a dumb piece of shit. And Braun's like, but get my hands. And then Shane goes, oh, you make a good point. If you and Bobby face off, if you can beat off Bobby, then you can be in the triple threat menage a match.
Definitely not what he said.
That's what he said.
Nope. This is...
Bishop, what'd you think?
Can we edit this?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that you added in some verbs and nouns that weren't quite there before.
That's what I heard.
But the story, it's around the same story. So
I was in the Thunderdome. You get it different in the dome.
No, yeah. Look,
keep it going.
Again, like we talked about earlier, I think Braun is ours. I think as fans, we want more for Braun. So when Braun comes out, I really felt like we were gonna get Braun taking his stake to the claim, and we got that, but it's at the expense of what everyone else feels like doing. And then Braun again, yeah, he did look like the big dummy. He did look like the one who has to be in position to make sure everyone else looks good. And that showed true by the end of the night. Bobby Lashley not getting his just due at that point in time, I thought was a big mistake too. He should have had hands on Miz. That's as much as I can cover for him. He's got to matriculate his way back at some point.
Yeah, he's coming back. I personally love this Bobby Lashley. I think he's like such a believable champ. All right, it's all you.
No, he's definitely. It's been his best presentation.
It's been good. It has been good. I thought it's a little weird that Braun Strowman shoehorns himself into this match, but I also thought, like you said, it was believable in the idea that why has he not been included in any of these other matches? And they made him look stupid. I thought it was somebody online. I believe it was somebody who shouts us out to talk shit. So I would appreciate the follow and I appreciate the likes. But I don't listen back. Said that it sounded like Braun Strowman got his promo skills from JD from New York, which is hysterical to me. Because when you listen to that guy, he just screams and yells. He goes, this is shit. Everything is awful. It's awful because I hate it. And then that's like his whole show. And I was like, fuck, dude, that guy's going to die of a heart attack.
Yeah, I was a bit bummed at the presentation that he had on this one, because we've seen Braun do some good stuff. I just think sometimes fewer words are better for certain people, you know? Like if someone doesn't have like the best acting background, or if that's maybe not their strong suit, I think there's other ways around that.
Yeah, and I mean, he started stumbling in a way that was kind of like, oh, I feel bad for the dude, because I think he's better than that too.
Well, let me ask you this: since you love to fantasy book, Do you think, based off of Braun Strowman's last couple promos, are we going to get Strowman and Shane at Mania?
Yo, so I was going to ask. Shane's getting himself in WrestleMania one way or the other is what it looks like, right?
Yep.
Shane was, when Drew McIntyre was all like, Shane, what the fuck? Put me in an elimination match, bip, fuck, bip. And then Shane was all like, oh, here's where you can show us if you got any bowels on you, and slaps the title. And I was like, that was a really condescending way to talk to your champion. Shane thinks he's better than a champion. That's weird. And then right here, Braun comes out, and Shane goes, Braun, you ignorant slut. And then continues on. And you go, what is Shane doing? So I do think we're going to get a Shane match, and I think it's possible we get a Shane match with Braun, but what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to put yourself in a match against Braun? I mean, even if Braun beats Shane, does that rebuild him?
No, because they don't follow through with Braun. They don't let him, like, the saying is, I hand you the ball, go run with it. They never let him run. They never give him the next step. He's never I don't want to say pushed, but he's never at least guided in the next direction with a layer of another story.
Yeah.
So it could, if on the back end it's put into something.
And that's what I was saying before about the person who's, I think, been the most negatively affected by no crowd is Braun, because crowds love him. He had the worst fucking catchphrase. It came out organically and was cool, where he was all like, you better get your friend away from here, or he's going to catch these hands. The next thing you know, everyone's all like, get these hands, get these. And he's like, oh, shit, you like that? So then he drove it into the ground, and I get that. That happens. It happens.
Well, and he started saying it differently, too. He started saying it differently. He would go, get these hands.
Yeah, 100%. And he'd be in the ring, and he'd be doing this business. Get these hands. Get these hands. Getting the crowd chanting. But you know what? It worked. They did.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this Strowman Express, this choo-choo, choo-choo, I'm Braun Strowman and I'm a train, choo-choo. I don't see that catching on with the fans the same way.
Well, he
personally.
does this. He does this for the Strowman Express.
What is it? Oh, the hand over the...
Yeah, because he's going to run around the ring and do the Strowman Express. So it's not a choo-choo.
Choo-choo. Motherfucker's a train now. So I think that the crowds do love him, because you can't look at him for 1 second in that ring and not go, God damn. The first time I saw him, I was like third row for a Raw, and he came out and I was like, yo, his hip is above the top rope. What is going on with this? Like, it was crazy. At Royal Rumble, we were in the same hotel as him, and he was like walking around the lobby, and I was like, what the fuck? He can fit in these chairs?
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy.
Just like this giant walking around.
Yeah, he like sits down and his knees hit his fucking chin, and you're like, fuck. He's enormous. Like, he's walking around in Crocs, and you're like, I'm not going to say anything. Are you? No. I don't wear Crocs. The dude's impressive. So when people see him, they go, fuck. That dude has to win. Because I would never pick a fight with that dude. Yeah. But then you see Miz, and you go, yeah, I can fucking take him. Oh, Grim Reaper brings up a good point. I'm not finished with you. That was that was a great run. That was so bad, dude. That one was awful. So here's the thing: is like his catchphrases are shit, and the crowd doesn't care. We still love him. The crowd's not being there to cheer him, regardless of all this, is what's hurting him. Sure. Because people aren't going to hashtag Strowman Express. That's not going to happen. But when he runs around the ring and throws people 4 rows back, people will scream and cheer. So he's, I think, been the most negatively affected by no fans, to be honest. But with that in mind, we got a main event set up. We got Hurt Business versus Lucha House Party, which was a good match. It was what it was. Nothing to say about it in my book. Anything for you?
No, I mean, tornado tag matches are dope. I've always liked them ever since a kid, you know, not having to worry about the tags and the matches just keep going.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm loading up the next result here. Yeah. I'm not finished with you. Yo, and that was the other weird thing. Roman was so hated that turned Braun Strowman face, and people didn't even get that. And I was like, what? Let's see, Damon Priest and Angel Garza. We already talked about that. And then, the Randy Orton promo. So Randy Orton eats a Sharpie and then cuts a promo.
Oh, come on, man.
What?
Give him more credit than that.
I said chocolate syrup.
Go ahead.
Chocolate syrup? That was pitch black. That was the best. What are those big felt markers that all the teachers have that weren't Sharpie? He sucked the end out. Remember how like you open at the back and it was like it was like a sponge with plastic around it? He fucking swallowed one. And we've all been there. Who hasn't? Trying to catch that quick buzz. But you can't cut a promo afterwards. Fuck, that guy probably drank chocolate milk afterwards. Like, what are you thinking, man? Get your head out of your ass. He cuts this promo and he goes, I'm not even bothered by Bray Wyatt. I set his motherfucking ass on fire. And everyone went, yeah, you did. And he goes, it's that bitch Alexa Bliss. And going, what? What? Did you say that? Did you say it like that? He goes, yeah. No, I said, bitch. And I went, what? And then he coughs up the marker because you can't eat that much marker. Your body rejects it. Everyone knows that. We've all been there. What do you think about this, Bishop?
I am in love with The Fiend and The Fiend energy more than Bad Bunny is with the 24/7 title. And you completely shit all over what The Fiend is.
You're all looking at like The Fiend.
Promo.
You got like a picture of The Fiend and you're like, if you could look at me now.
I have a Fiend on the shelf. I don't, but I need one. Look, I thought it was weird at the beginning of the promo. Randy like coughs into his hand. I'm like, they never do that. I didn't even think about it. And then a little bit while later in the promo, another cough happens, and I'm like, damn, Randy must be off, but he's powering through. Cool. And it builds and builds and builds. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
This first
fucking
cough.
Right.
First cough, Marsha's
And
like, yep, something's happened.
I can't hear producer lady. You got to patch her
No,
through.
she said the first time he coughed, I went, oh, because she was in the other room. I was like, oh, you're going to come in here. They're going to cut to something. He's going to come back. He's going to cough up a bunch of black shit. Come in. And it happened. And I was like, that's dope, right? Like,
and then you shit on it.
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
No, it was great. I didn't, because I do all of this based off of what's given to me, not what I want, right? Because if I go about what I want all the time, I'll be more disappointed than not. And what they were giving to me in that promo, I was like, oh shit, he coughed. Like, they never cough in promos. They did it again. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, but he wouldn't be coughing backstage with COVID. So this is weird. And then the black shit comes up, and it's the same black shit that Alexa had when she was sitting in the corner. And I'm like, fucking right. No matter how much they drag this story out, it's always different. Alexa last week when she was in the fun house with no furniture and the pentagram with the candles and all that shit, like, there's always a different level. It might not be up, down, adjacent, whatever it is. It's somewhere around there. It's always something else layered in, and it's done so fucking well. So well.
And that seance was clearly attacking Randy. So they cut back to it. It goes, it's that Alexa bitch. The little Miss Bitch fit. I think is what he said. I don't know what he said. Okay. But he's like, it's her.
Enough.
She's the problem. And then it cuts over to her having a fucking seance being like, and then it comes back and he's like, blah, 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 blah. So she had a seance to possess him and fill his body with ink, much like that of a squid. So we have RKO the squid. And I think that's where we ended up. It's like it's more of this thing. And Justin says it good in the chat. He says this was Papa Shango and Ultimate Warrior kind of callback. Yeah, and I love that shit because I think we're also past the idea. This is where the realm of wrestling in the modern day can start blending in with realistic expectations of your fans. As much as I love that in the Attitude Era, we were arguing about who had more realistic fights, WCW or WWF. We're all like, oh yeah, Disco Inferno sold something and nobody was even touching him. And you're like, oh, but Mick Foley really fucking almost died the other night. I love the idea that we're at a place now where we can say, hey, we can do a lot of stuff where it's like a contest you can believe in, but we can also start throwing in some of this Hollywood type stuff because we know that you know and it's fine to know. But we also don't have to feed into that 100% of the time. And I think that as a quick side note, I think that's my biggest problem with AEW is all of their booking is hoping that you know and booking like, well, we know you know, so it doesn't have to be realistic at all in any way, shape, or form. WWE has a balance where like we'll do cinematic stuff for people who we know. We're going to do these Matt Riddle matches and Sheamus matches for people who still want to forget.
Right. Yeah, I thought when I saw the segment, I just, I mean, like, it hooks me every fucking time. Like, if I was to run into Alexa Bliss tomorrow, I would go, that Fiend shit you're doing on TV is amazing. I love it. Thank you. Yeah. I wouldn't go, you're a wrestler? That's weird. Isn't that fake? Like,
right.
What they're giving you, that intense entertainment, it's just as good as any fucking TV show around. I mean, the way they're building a story. And then I'm looking at Randy Orton's face when he's coughing the shit up finally. I'm like, this guy's going to pop a fucking blood vessel. The veins in his head were like seeing his fucking legs. Like he was selling it like a motherfucker. And that's what it takes. Like I said, everything can be done as long as it's done well. Why is it that it's more believable that Randy Orton is possessed than Miz is the champion? Well, one of them's done well.
And I'm the asshole. I love it.
Wow. Come on.
I think she wanted to say.
Oh, I was noticing on social media the younger crowd, if you will, are some of them were really not into Alexa taking over the Fiend, if you will, and just kind of not liking any of the segment, any of the character, and I was really, really confused. So I asked Marsh, like, how do you not love this new Alexa?
Yeah, she sent me a tweet. Someone was all like, I can't believe they saddled Alexa with all this Fiend garbage. And someone else was like, this is horrible. They've absolutely ruined her. I don't see us ever getting back to the goddess where she belongs. And I was like, are you guys pissed that it's like hard to imagine certain things anymore? Like, she's like more covered up now and she's like creepy and spitting up blood, so you can't just like do creepy shit while you watch it. Like, what's your problem? Because this is amazing character work. This is fantastic character work.
It's better. It's more beneficial for her. If you care about Alexa, it's actually more beneficial for her to do this style of character work than wrestle a fucking match at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if she's headed towards Hollywood in any way, shape, or form, what do they care if she can flip? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This type of work. I mean, I've said it since the second she was possessed the first time. The way she sells the energy owning her is better than anyone selling anything in the company. When she was looking at the ceiling with bewilderment, and when she gets possessed by the dark energy, and when she's so excited inside the playhouse, when she's possessing him in the funhouse, or the playground. Anyway, it's all of that. When she's sitting on top of the turnbuckles and the shit's coming out of her mouth, and you know that there's way too fucking much of it, and she's not selling the fact that her mouth is flooded with squid ink. Like, she's amazing. She's doing fantastic work, and she's entertaining you on a show. How could you be mad at entertainment?
Yeah, she's got your jaw dropped the whole time. What?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I think maybe just different age groups want different stories, which is a whole interesting thing too.
It's hysterical. I saw someone tweet out today. They're like, what's age is my followers? Fucking had a slew of like 19, 14, 13, 16, 17, 19, 18. And I was all like, fuck. That is not our demo. I'll be honest with you. But I was like, well, he's got more followers because I think it's what Twitter has. But yeah, I thought all that was fantastic. Let's get into the big thing because I don't want to sit here all night. We still got a couple more things to cover. But here we go. Charlotte and Asuka versus the tag team champions, Shayna and Nia. Was this for the title or not?
No, I don't think it was.
I don't think it was for the titles, and I think that that's also stupid because there is no reason to have this match. You have a number one contender in Lana and Naomi on Raw. You have number one contenders in NXT with Dakota and Raquel. You have Sasha and Bianca just losing to the tag team champions the night before. There's no more business with you guys. There's been no reason for Asuka and Charlotte to team up again ever or for them to have this match. So when this match first happened, I asked a group chat I'm in, what's the point of this shit? And someone says, oh, so that way they can build towards Asuka versus Charlotte. Well, that's the worst reason to have this match because you can do that 1,000 other ways. And if you're telling me you're putting together an entire match with the tag team champions when they have two number one contenders on their ass for no reason other than to make them a side note, then fuck that. Don't put the champions in the match. Making the champions win again is not as important as something else. Later on in the night, we had Naomi and Lana getting a win over the sexy blonde muscle friends, Dana and Mandy. Why couldn't Lana and Naomi win this match with the same ending? It might be a schmaz finish and a shitty finish, but at least the number one contenders got a win over the former champions.
Yeah, and if you push the two matches together, I think time-wise, it's only an extra 30 seconds.
Yep. Yeah, and then on top of that, now right here you get Nia getting the pin over Asuka. So now Nia's pinned Sasha and Asuka in the span of 2 nights. And the conversation we're having is, oh, is Charlotte going to go after Asuka for the title? Why isn't Nia in your conversation if she's pinning all your champions? I don't like Nia. I don't like her one bit. But she's pinning all your fucking champions.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why isn't Asuka in your conversations? Before you get to who's going to fucking challenge her, why doesn't anybody fucking talk about her? They pulled her from the match that they promoted for 5 fucking days, 6 days before the pay-per-view even happened. They pulled the match instead of putting in any bullshit contender. No offense to any of the women, but bullshit storyline wise, right? It doesn't matter who it is. I think we came up with the fact, well, if it was Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce as the tag team that earned the shot, well, then you have Peyton Royce just take the shot, and you have a Peyton Royce Asuka match on a 2.5-hour pay-per-view, extend it by 12 fucking minutes, and there's no problem here.
Yeah.
You treat
No
Asuka
problem.
with some type of reverence, some type of respect, and Asuka doesn't get that. And I'm not one of these guys. Yes. I'm not one of these guys that agree with, Moxley and Eric Young and EC3, where it's like, oh, they treated me poorly and all this shit and blah, 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 blah. If Asuka came out and said, fuck WWE, they did nothing with me, I was their champion, they should have given me this, they should have given me that, she's fucking right. She's been the champion since the day after Money in the Bank last year. And what have we done? What have we done?
Why did Asuka have to eat a pin? She's your fucking champion. Charlotte is more important than the champion, and it's not because of anything other than who is ever writing the show. Charlotte can take the loss. She's Charlotte. Your champion should not be eating pins like that. Asuka looks like the least believable champion right now, more so than Miz, because every time Charlotte and Asuka are in a match and they lose, Asuka takes the pin. Because Charlotte's more important than your championship. That's a problem.
She looks less credible than any woman who has wrestled during the entire Women's Dusty Cup in NXT or the Women's NXT title match. So there's 19 women's wrestlers right there, or 2 of them were in the match. Either way, she looks less legit than all of them. She looks less legit. Like I told you the other day, she is number 4 in her tag matches with Charlotte. Of the 4 women in the match, she's the 4th person in that match. Everyone else looks better than she does. She's your Raw Women's Champion. Not only that, she's really fucking good. Yeah. She does not suck at wrestling. She's not a paper champion, a transitional champion, if you will. She is Asuka, and Asuka is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, but this show loves Charlotte, and they want to make sure that you know that Charlotte's more important than literally anything that happens on this show. Justin has a few things he says in the chat. He says the whole Ric Flair and Charlotte segment felt forced, and another way to make us sympathize with Charlotte. Nothing she does or whatever the story they try to tell us is going to make us feel bad for her. 100%. Fabtina agrees. From what I saw on social media, it seems like only Charlotte fans love this. That's true, too. I saw a lot of that. People who already loved Charlotte and already stan Charlotte went, this is incredible. Anybody who was not bought into Charlotte was not impressed by this, because you getting a quivery lip telling your dad to fuck off one more time didn't mean shit to me. Because my whole problem was that we just watched the Raw Women's Champion take another loss because you're more important than that. Because you deserve better than that. I'm not into that. I don't think that you are bigger than everything, and I don't think you're the best that's ever been. In here, Asuka doesn't get brought up in any conversation because she's become the afterthought of the show, and it's sad to see. Go ahead.
What was the narrative of what Charlotte had to say to Rick?
It was, I don't want to be Charlotte or Ric Flair's daughter. But hey, you got his music. You got his robe. You have his finish. You do his strut. You do his woo. You do his chops. You tell me you're not trying to be Ric Flair's daughter.
That wasn't the narrative. To me, the narrative was everything Rick is doing is distracted Charlotte. That was what I felt the narrative of what that was.
Okay.
Right? And I'm listening to Charlotte do this, but like you said, who's eating the losses? It's Asuka. It's not Charlotte being distracted. Charlotte's not the one distracted. Yep. The only time she lost is when Rick pulled the foot, right? And then wasn't there another one where Rick actually distracted? But like, they're not.
He wasn't even out there for this one.
Right. But Rick being there at all is what's distracting her. It's bullshit. I wrote down here, in my thoughts, this is the fourth time she's told him to go home. And then she did it again in the fucking promo. So the fourth and fifth time she told him to go home. She's already said this. And in the promo, Rick goes, I get it. You're a 13-time champ. Where is she coming from underneath? Whose shadow is she in? It's
100%.
so fucking stupid.
There's such a weird story. She's been telling this weird, out of nowhere story that she's an underdog. She goes, Asuka had nothing to prove. I had everything to prove. When Asuka first got to the main roster, she goes, we were going in there. It was streak against title. She goes, I had literally everything to prove, and Asuka had nothing to prove at all. What are you talking about? She's been on the roster for 3 months. She won a Rumble, and then she gets a match with you. She had everything to prove that her streak was legitimate and not a fluke. And her losing it proved it was a fluke, and the NXT is not as good as the main roster in any way. All you did was solidify that you just take these wins. Producer had something she wanted to say, though.
Oh, I think this story progression is just so odd, because at the beginning of the storyline, we had Lacey, coming after Charlotte, and Charlotte saying, oh, you think I haven't seen a million of you? So she made it seem, in my mind, from the perspective that she didn't care about Lacey. She didn't care about any of this. So for her to all of a sudden turn over and say, you're the biggest distraction, I can't believe you. I don't buy that story at all. I don't understand the turn. It doesn't make sense to me. It's all conflicting. And honestly, watching this match, I thought, oh, is Asuka now a face? Because this whole time I keep seeing Charlotte as a heel.
Yeah, Charlotte's trying to build sympathy, and all she does is make me resent her more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was, Mrs. Takes last night said to me, if Charlotte wasn't Ric Flair's daughter, or if the character Charlotte wasn't Ric Flair's daughter, she wouldn't be this thing. as far as like the champion and all that stuff, or she wouldn't even be a wrestler is how she put it. That's what it was. She goes, if Charlotte wasn't Ric Flair's daughter, she wouldn't even be a wrestler. She's not good. And to my theory was, no, she would actually be better. If she wasn't presented as Ric Flair's daughter, she would be better. The athlete of who Charlotte is fantastic. Yeah. Having to live up to the name, the gimmick, the whole nine, it's terrible. It's not working. It never has. Oh, well, she's a 13 champion. Yeah, they wrote it that way. I think there might be one Charlotte title run that made sense to me. And I can't even name it. So I don't think any of them make sense to me. And in the context of everything, Charlotte Flair, the character, does not work. It just doesn't. They cannot tell a viable story. Again, they're going back to the well of Dad, go home. That was the first thing they did. He helped her win a shit ton of matches, and she sent him home. He raised Sasha's hand in Charlotte when she won the title, and then Charlotte sends him home. Like, she's always sending him home. It's nothing new, and people standing it. I would love to understand why. Again, I would like to like Drew McIntyre. I would like to like Charlotte Flair. I don't. They don't give me anything to fucking care about.
Yeah. I think that they feel if they push Charlotte enough, every time Charlotte comes out and I'm in the Thunderdome, they go, a lot of cheers, guys, big cheers. We want to see big reaction, big positive reaction for Charlotte. And I boo like crazy. In this match, I'm second row on the right-hand side in a red shirt. You can see me boo the whole fucking match because I just don't want to be a part of it. But I feel like as much as the lack of audience has hurt Braun Strowman, they've used it to elevate Charlotte even more, being like, oh, we don't have to worry about that bullshit that happened with Becky where she turns on Charlotte and we wanted them to boo and they just wouldn't. We'll just pipe in the boos. Right now, it's all like, oh, Charlotte's coming out, pipe in the cheers. Now everyone loves her. Now they all know at home that we love her. No. Nope.
Well, let me turn that back on you. If they did with Charlotte what they're doing with Drew, or did with Drew, is they go Mania to Mania, and whatever her reasons for sitting out for so long, good on her, no problem. But even when she came back, it's with, again, no significance in story in what's happening going forward. Mm-hmm. The night after she wins the tag title, they start this bullshit story with Rick. And I called it bullshit from the beginning because, hey, fucking Lacey Evans is married. And, hey, she might get pregnant. Well, oops.
Yep.
Just pour another one.
I'm going to have to pour another one, yeah. I believe there's several ants in here. Could you?
Several.
I don't have another drink or cup around here. And it's a drinking show. Hold on, wait. I might be able. Well,
You're surrounded by cups.
I have no cups. Oh, there's this cup right here. This one says.
It's the biggest cup ever.
This one says, "I'm your Huckleberry." It's my cup. It's my Huckleberry.
You've got like 4 cups next to you.
All right. Well, I have no ice, so I'm gonna have to find a warm glass of something to drink. It's no longer on the rocks. Now we're just wrestling neat. Wrestling straight up. Let's see. Justin says. Nope, never mind. We already covered that one. Grim Reaper says, Asuka lost to Charlotte 2 weeks before WrestleMania 35, so Charlotte can have the SmackDown title going into the match with Ronda and Becky. Asuka is a casualty. I think the same thing is going to happen again with WrestleMania 37, and Asuka will be left out of WrestleMania again. And I agree. He also says, Charlotte beat Asuka at WrestleMania 34 to break Asuka's streak. It drives me crazy. From an NXT unbeatable force to this. Oh, just like we said. Justin says, it's like Charlotte is trying to say that her father is the one who's holding her down when he's the one who's gotten her where she is today because of her name. It makes no sense. Grim Reaper says, agree, Justin. Also keep in mind they need to change things on the fly with Lacey's pregnancy. I hope Rick doesn't get back with Charlotte on air for a very long time. And I can agree with all that, too. I don't think we need to have this Charlotte and Rick back and forth. I don't think Charlotte pretending to cry made me care. I think this show is obsessed with Charlotte, and it makes Asuka look bad. I think that if we're back at a point where we're trying to get the title back onto Charlotte because she's here, and who deserves the title more than Charlotte? You've already booked Charlotte more important than the title. Can you just move on with that then? Can you make the title still important but let Charlotte be an entity? If you really think that Charlotte Flair is an attraction the same as Hulk Hogan, where a match against Hogan meant more than a match for the title, just fucking do that then. I don't care if you overhype a match with Charlotte and say, oh my God, a one-on-one against Charlotte at WrestleMania is the biggest match you can have. It's not even for the title, but it's WrestleMania and it's Charlotte. Fine. But can you stop shitting on the title to do that and just strapping with the title every time the match comes around? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, some of Cena's best matches are not as champion, but challenger and losing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think me and you both agree that when it comes down to what Charlotte does in the ring, at the end of the match, no matter whose hand is raised, Charlotte's the one that looks best out of everyone. And for me, it's not even looking that good. So when Charlotte finds a way for herself and everyone else to look good in that match, please do it. Please do it as an attraction. Please give me 15 minutes of it and do it without the title. And you will be a babyface or a heel that we can get behind regardless. But as far as what she does, character and in ring, it's not undeniable. But hey, she's got 13 titles. Like, what are you going to say? I don't, you know, so stupid.
It's forced. It's so forced. The fact that they put the tag titles on her and stripped them away a month later for the same people who had them before was such a groaning moment. It was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, at least have the title switched to someone else. At least. Put over a new team.
Did you go back and watch any NXT when the Four Horsemen women were down there?
Oh, yeah,
And
dude.
Charlotte
I watched a lot of that.
Okay. How even was the entire roster? Everyone was presented as a wrestler, not as one better than the next. You just got decent to good matches, some great, but you got decent to good matches every time. And it wasn't about who was on the poster or what have you. And we're missing that. We're missing that, especially when Charlotte's out. She gets the entrance, she gets the robes, she gets the poster, she gets the victory, she gets the titles, but she stands alone and not from a undeniable standpoint.
No, she doesn't lift others up to her level. And that's something that Bayley did that I really, and I've talked about it before. Bayley's title run was her showing that the entire roster was just as good as her. That the entire roster could easily take that title off her in any given match, at any given night. She just got the one thing. She just did the one thing she had to do to get the win, to hold on to that title. But every match, there was moments where you went, fuck, Tamina might take this title. Because she was showing that the roster is as good as her, not that she's better than the whole roster. And Charlotte matches are always about how someone has to get lucky to beat her because she's better than everyone. That's what makes her matches not interesting.
Well, that's where I started to get worried with your booking of what may happen, where if Charlotte takes the title off of Asuka and Bianca goes and challenges Charlotte, I don't think we get the same Bianca we could out of Sasha. Right. You're going to end up with a match where Charlotte looks better than Bianca. Bianca looks like she can't hang, or Bianca's dancing around Charlotte and Charlotte's missing her spots. That's what happens when somebody's too athletic for Charlotte. Now, Bianca is big enough to take the punishment that, because again, the Rhea match, the Ronda match, and all the Sasha matches, it seems like those are the only matches where Charlotte trusted that she can inflict pain on someone and nothing's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So she might be able to do that with Bianca, but I don't think Bianca's on that level of selling to even make her own self look good. So I would be afraid if we got a Bianca Charlotte match. Yeah. I would hope that it would come out good, but I'd be afraid to have it.
Yeah, 100%. But there's a part of me, there's a big part of me that thinks that's where we're going. That we're going to get Charlotte coming up next week because Rick's like, I want to be in the corner of the Raw Women's Championship. Is that so bad? I was like, oh, fuck. So that means he's going to come out next week. Asuka's going to... Rick's going to get her a match. Rick's going to be like, Charlotte, look what I did to make things right. I got you a match with Asuka. Dad, what the fuck? Then she comes out. He comes out. She wins the title. And he's like, oh, God, look at... Because he cries a lot. And then that's it. They make right. She's got the title. And then Bianca gets fooled by both Sasha and Bayley to take that... to go after that title, where she will lose at WrestleMania because no one's allowed to beat Charlotte.
Yeah, if that happens, Asuka should ask for her release, get it granted immediately, go over to Japan, work with Kairi Sane. I'll download whatever app that they're working under, and I'll watch all that shit. Like, it's a travesty what's happened with Asuka. We talked about this the other day. Asuka, I think, is like 37, 38. She's getting up there. And in my opinion, I've never seen Asuka look bad in the ring. In everything, any clip, any highlight, any match I watch, she looks amazing. And she's been doing this for 15, 20 years. She's a generational talent. She wrestles this way for her career. Paige was the same way. Paige is a generational talent. She was so young, but she was wrestling at 15. And they were wrestling like this before any women were wrestling like this. Like, this quality of match. We had good women's matches, but not like this. Not like this. And it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Because we don't have much more Asuka left.
Yeah, 100%. And it's ridiculous that you're a champion for this long. So many people respect her in the back and want to work with her because they do think she's the absolute best. And yet here we are, meant to believe that no one is better than Charlotte ever, and there's nothing more important than a Charlotte match. And the whole fucking show revolves around Charlotte so much that they're willing to shit all over the Raw Women's Championship just to make sure that Charlotte looks better than the championship. And that's a fucking issue to me. Justin says, I've always said that they only put the titles on Asuka and Charlotte just so they could bring Charlotte back on TV and give her the accolade as a true Grand Slam champion, and it shows that was factual more and more every time. Yeah. And we talked about that too. Kevlar made that prediction on episode 1 when we were going into that pay-per-view, and we're like, oh, who's Asuka going to have? And he goes, well, obviously it's Charlotte, right? And we all went, come on. Like, well, she's got to come back and win that tag title because it's the only thing that's held her back from being the Grand Slam champion, and they got to give her that accolade. No one's allowed to have an accolade that Charlotte's not allowed to have.
Well, she's going to do it again. This is the Grand Slam champ twice. So now Charlotte has to do it twice.
Yeah, so now she's going to go through too. Matt Fabtina says that's where fans will probably turn on Charlotte. We love Bianca too much, just like they thought Charlotte could be put over Becky. But that's just it, is the fans they've not. There are Charlotte fans, and then there's everyone else who's tired of it. Because the people who are diehard Charlotte fans love it every time she does absolutely anything. It doesn't matter. But the rest of the wrestling fans talk about how overpushed she is, how tone deaf the company is, about how... I mean, the fact that they thought that the audience was going to boo Becky for slugging Charlotte after she stole the victory, you guys are dumb. Everyone was cheering. We were cheering at home. We were losing our minds. We're like, fuck yes, Becky, do it.
Yep.
The man was made off the back of the hatred for Charlotte by the fans. They're tired of it. And if you fucking have Bianca lose to Charlotte at Mania, that is it. If you thought Roman had it bad.
Look, I am as objective as a fan can be. Like, I got worked by Randy Orton coughing. You know what I mean? Like, I watch... I watch for the aspect of being entertained. And I saw Charlotte and I go, okay, I get it. She's tall, she's fit, she's athletic, she's good looking. I get it. Okay. As I see that, I then go to matches. I'm like, all right, well, she can't wrestle as good as Paige, so she's not the best wrestler on the planet. She just happens to be more athletic. Okay. And then I'm watching, and remember that whole time that call up happened, the entire crowd was chanting, "We want Sasha," and she didn't wrestle for like 6 months because they didn't give us Sasha. And that whole time that I'm hearing that Charlotte's so good, I'm waiting for her to be as good a wrestler as the women around her. And by the time I waited too long, she was 10 titles deep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but she's still not as good. She is good. She is getting better. But when she does a chop and she throws herself back 3 feet, I don't believe that she's actually making contact. It feels like when she puts her hand on somebody, it does more damage to her and she's leaning back. Like, there's nothing she does that makes me feel like she is the greatest. But when you look on paper, she's the greatest.
Yep.
It's really weird, man. It's really weird.
Yeah, I agree. Super weird. We've been saying it since episode 1. As much as we can respect her as a performer and as an athlete and all those things, this character, the way that she's been shown to us and the way that we watch things, we don't see what the company keeps telling us over and over again. So it's been tough. Let's see, real quick. They had AJ Styles and Ricochet. They had Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy. Both these matches were kind of like thrown in there seemingly for not much of a reason, but both of these matches were absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, Ricochet folds up like an accordion. It's crazy.
Yeah, Ricochet is just a bendy straw. He's amazing.
Yeah, I like the lead in to this pay-per-view. We were getting really good TV matches, and they didn't let us down either. I thought, again, I got worked. Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, the ref was on a 5 count when they went to commercial, and they're on the outside. I'm like, wait a second. What's happened in the other 5 seconds? Do they just stand up and say, fuck it? Like, come on, man. You can't go to commercial when the referee's counting 5 and they're both laying down outside. I got to see what happens. And then, again, the reason why I'm not a Jeff Hardy guy is in every single match, that damn knee comes after him. Like, out of nowhere, that fucking left knee, it's just like, oh, my knee again. And but no, I thought it was definitely fun. Yeah, that fucking knee, man. And of course, AJ and Ricochet, anytime they get together is, let's do it.
It's amazing. Oh, yeah. Ricochet and AJ, just fucking, nonstop, man. Their whole thing with the U.S. title was so good. All of it's like, I love when those guys work together. Because you also know that Ricochet's walking up to that match like, oh, shit. Like, he's so, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way he's not super excited every time. And that does lead us to the main event, Bobby Lashley versus Braun Strowman. Were you surprised about Bobby Lashley getting a clean win over Braun Strowman leading into this match with Miz next week? I felt like we were going to have some sort of interference that was going to make Adam Pearce say, Miz, you done fucked up. You're getting a triple threat now no matter what. But we had a clean victory, Bobby Lashley over Braun Strowman. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think because everything that they've done before has been awesome, right? It's always been some type of, as Big E would say, put your meat on my meat. Like, they just... Meat on meat? They smack each other around. They beat each other up. And I knew we were going to get that. But again, Braun Strowman is ours. So as a fan, I want Braun Strowman to get his due. I also can't look past what's happening with Lashley. Lashley, like you said it during the watch along and everything. You go, he didn't sell those cane shots. Yeah, he got hit with the crutch, but he's just like, my back. I can't wrestle right now, but it's not like it hurt me, And he looked, when he beat the shit out of Drew later in the night, looked incredible. When he started off the promo on Raw, looked incredible. So if this is about how do we make Bobby look as incredible as possible, I can't say really that Braun suffered in this match because this is what they give us with Braun. I am surprised because I want more for Braun, but I'm not surprised when you look at what they've been doing with Bobby.
I know. That's where I was torn apart on this one because it's like, well, it's Bobby Lashley, man, and Bobby Lashley should be booked like Braun Strowman plus. You know what I mean? He should look like a person that you think, well, fuck, not even Brock Lesnar's got a chance with this guy just to make those kinds of big matches mean something. But like you said, it's Braun Strowman, man, and every time we see him, he comes out, he talks big, he is big, he says weird shit, and you go, yeah, but at least he can fight. Right. And then he comes out and gets his ass handed to him, and you go, well, fuck, man, maybe. Yeah, he crumbled so fast. He crumbled.
Well, that's where I agree with you, too. I think the match started with 8-10 minutes left in the show. And
Yeah.
I was waiting for some type of interference. I was waiting for something because
Something.
there was no way that one of these guys was going to get beat clean that quick. And it definitely happened.
No, Braun Strowman fights like a Nature Valley bar, dude. You open it up and it just crumbles to bits. You don't even get a bite out of it before this thing is just powder in your hands. And you're like, what the fuck happened? This felt like a stick of chewables. It's just a bummer because you think Braun Strowman is this choo-choo express, this Tommy the Train Engine from Ringo Starr's show. I forget which one it was. He's supposed to be this monster among men, this meat castle of a man, and every single match he just fucking goes down so fast, and you're like, well, fuck, he's got a glass jaw. So, I don't know. It was a bummer for me from that perspective. I also really liked the idea of Miz in a triple threat with Braun and Bobby. Because I thought that if Miz is shitty enough, he'll have them fight each other, and he'll somehow get Morrison involved to get a pin over somebody on someone else's shit, right? So you'd have like Bobby spear Braun, and then you'd have like Morrison taunt Bobby, and as soon as Bobby turns his back, Miz slides in and gets the pin, and then you go, oh, what a piece of shit. But the fact it's one-on-one Bobby versus Miz, like, fucking Bobby better take that title, dude. You fucking better.
It's what it feels like, because if the Miz was going to weasel out, the easy way to do that is in a triple threat, right? You know, you find this triple threat, just like in the USA title match. The ref even said it, you know, Morrison brings the crutch in. MVP's like, he's got a crutch, and ref's like, dude, there's no DQs. It's triple threat. So that's your out, right? Your out is the no DQ. Well, there is no out now. This is Miz and Lashley one-on-one. There's only one right outcome. There's only one right outcome. And that's Bobby doing what he's been doing for the last 2 weeks of presentation.
Yeah. And then you have Drew McIntyre come in and being like, you've got what's mine, bloke. You know, because they say bloke and shit. Mate. Grim Reaper says Shining Time Station.
Oh, go ahead.
Say what?
No, go ahead.
Grim Reaper's talked about the refs could just stop counting like he did with the handcuffs. Cough, cough. As far as your 5 count to the commercial. It's like 5. They're like, what? No more? Okay. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Let me know how it's going. You know what I mean? That's how I feel it goes. And then he said Shining Time Station is the Ringo Starr show with a train. That's why Grim Reaper's one of our favorites to have on the show. Maybe we'll have him back on soon enough because he knows all of the pop culture from 30 years ago that I'm familiar with. So, but yeah, Bobby's got to win it. And then I think you get Drew McIntyre coming out. Booby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it puts a hole in Kevlar's theory that I think means a lot, though. I think the Peacock deal does mean a lot. And if you have Mr. USA and The Miz not being champion during the first Peacock pay-per-view, I think it's a mistake. So I think him having the title during Fastlane makes sense. Yes. But I don't know. Again, it's Miz's character presentation that's kind of fucking us when we think about it, because you look at the Miz and you go, well, how can he beat anybody? Because he hasn't beaten anyone, let alone how can he beat Lashley, or how can he actually beat McIntyre? And so why would they put him on Peacock as the title holder and get his ass whooped?
No, that's true. It looks like Fastlane will be the first pay-per-view to stream live on Peacock. So I hear you there. As long as he's got it to Fastlane, then you got something. Fuck, I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I wish Fastlane was where Drew drops it to Bobby. You know what I mean? Or where Drew picks it back up from Miz and Bobby challenges Drew and that Bobby Lashley gets the win at Mania. I hope that it's not.
Miz shouldn't make it out of Monday. Miz shouldn't make it out of Monday. Not based off of the story they're telling us. Not based off of how everybody looks, unless I'm missing something. And I do miss stuff. But based on what we've seen, the way things are pushing and building, there's nothing about Miz versus Lashley one-on-one, no parameters around it, that makes you think Miz is walking out of there unless he DQs himself or walks out the ring. And that type of Miz is not something I don't think anybody is here to sign up for. Then you have a heel in the wrong way.
Yeah, I 100%. But at the same time, you look at Kevin Owens, he was the longest reigning Universal Champion for a really long time because of how much he cheated with him and Jericho. Producer, you had something you wanted to say here?
Yeah, do we think maybe, not to piggyback on this, but is it possible that they want to make Charlotte a champion to promote the Punky Brewster show at all?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Punky Brewster is coming to NBC Peacock as an exclusive, and Charlotte and Alexa are in that first season. So it could be that part of the reason they're getting to Charlotte with a champion could have to do with that too. But that feels to me like one of those like, oh, isn't this nice? We were going to do it anyways kind of a deals. Where with Miz as the champion, go ahead.
To your point, if you're going to do Charlotte, you can do her as the Undertaker. You can do her as the attraction. We have Charlotte. Not Charlotte the champion. We have Charlotte. Oh, and we also have this dope champion as well. You can present Charlotte without presenting her as the champion.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You can bill her as higher. Yeah. But Justin says we have the possibility of having 2 straight transitional champions, which is crazy to think about. And that's what I'm saying, man. If we literally get from Miz to Bobby to put it on Drew at Mania, fuck, man. We don't need 2 transitional champions to make Drew look good to have this pity party. I'm not here for a pity party booking. I'm here for strong-looking champions. I want my babyface champion to not be an arrogant prick. I want my babyface champion to be a fighting champion who deserves it and not a guy who's asking for a pity party and asking for things to be put right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Bishop, we missing anything?
I don't think so. We covered it pretty well.
We got in the woods here. We really dug around. We went into it. I know we try to talk about our favorite things and the things we think were the best as much as possible, but it's hard when you're a big wrestling fan to not talk about the things that are really bumming you out about stuff. So this one may have been a little bit more of that side of things of what are you talking about, especially as we lead into the most exciting season for a wrestling fan, the Wrestlemainia season. And as we build towards Wrestlemania, we want to be as excited as possible for every single match that's coming up. And they're doing so much right now, which is so thinly veiled in some bullshit, that it's really hard to not say, fuck off with that. Because there's much possibility. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Charlotte stuff was a ticking time bomb. I mean, me and you, we've talked offline about Charlotte and the emotions that get elicited by what happens. And they just handed it to us on Raw. They said, here, this is what is inside your head. We're going to put it on TV so you now know how to talk about it on your podcast. So they gave us the time to do it. We did it. I don't think I need to bring it up anymore, because if they continue down this path that we completely see coming, there's no point in harping on it. I got it out of my system now. Okay, I'll just go Charlotte segment, exactly what I thought it was going to be, and move on. But I finally got it out of my system. I was going to do an entire Charlotte episode once, and I was like, you know what? I'm not that kind of fan. I'm not gonna be that way. But there's nothing I said on this episode that wasn't exactly what they gave us on Raw.
Yeah. 100%. And that's just it. It's going to get to the point where we just don't even talk about Charlotte segments, because it'll be like, yep, they're still doing that thing. Grim Reaper does bring up, did we talk about the Shayna's dental work on Asuka? And said Shayna felt so bad she checked on Asuka right away. There was a spot where Shayna went to go kick
it did look like
Asuka's arm. Knocked her right in the mouth. They say she lost a tooth. I didn't see a tooth fly. But it definitely could have. I didn't see it. But also, I did take note during the match. As soon as Shayna did that, she goes to pick up Asuka, and Asuka is dead weight. And Asuka is not moving. And Asuka is not that way. And I was like, something is wrong. And then Shayna's all like, hold my arm, and twists around to do the spot. Asuka, with eyes closed, just does the spot. and lays out, and then Charlotte wants to be like, ooh, what do you do? Ooh, and I was like, fuck you, Charlotte. This was so stupid. This whole match was put together to make Charlotte look good.
The only reason why I didn't write that down is the way the turn ended, right? Like, I didn't write it down because a couple seconds later, it was still with the Charlotte boot. So it was another kick to the face where it was like, oh, well, this is what they were leading into, was Shayna accidentally kicking Asuka. But when it happened, I again, it was a jump off the couch moment for me because I fucking love Asuka. She gives us everything. She performs so well. And when I noticed the same thing, I'm like, oh, she might legit be hurt here. And when Shayna's forehead was that close, I'm like, they're communicating, fuck, man, I hope Asuka's okay. And then Asuka covered her mouth the entire time. But once Charlotte hit her with the boot, I was like, oh, that's the gimmick of the match. Okay, I'm not worked. Well, I was worked. I worked myself. You know, like she did get legit kicked in the face, and I did feel bad. Absolutely. I fucking love Asuka, man. She doesn't deserve this shit.
No, I've said for a long time, you're a jabroni Mark who works yourself into a shoot when you don't know that you're working yourself into a shoot, brother.
Fucking A. It's more fun that way.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it is. I don't know if there's anything else to cover on this. We really went in on here. We will be back for Thursday Night Chaser, where we drown away our sorrows of the Wednesday night wrestling, because there is no war.
I won't be here.
You probably won't be here, no. I believe we'll have Clump back. If my gut tells me anything, we'll probably have Miss Amanda Jane back. She has been the most consistent. She's like a guest, and she's the most consistent co-host I have.
You should have gave her a t-shirt for free. Fuck having to win it.
I know. I gotta send her more. I have to make like an animation of her at this point. Like there's a whole thing. So I think that's where we're at. I think that's what's going on. I think as we lead into WrestleMania, it's the most exciting time of the year for us. This is Christmas again, and here we are trying to figure out why the fuck they're serving this up in such a way. I wonder if not having fans is hurting the product in a way that we hadn't imagined yet, because now there's no way the man could happen in the world they have today where they pipe in the reaction they want and say, yep, that's what the world thinks. So it's a weird thing we're living through. There's a few matches we're not excited for, but a whole lot we're hoping for. Bishop, where can people find you?
You can find me on all podcast platforms. The Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, TW Takes. Search either one, you'll find it. Easiest way, go to TW Takes podcast on Twitter. I pinned the tweet that has all the links to everything. Most recently, I've been live streaming the podcast as I record them on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. TW Takes everything. Bishop TW Takes at Gmail. If you want to send me a personal take that might be long-winded for Twitter or whatever, I'll read it on air. I'm just here to have fun, man. You can catch me on this show whenever Mars feels like asking me and the wife says it's okay. Other than that, man, every pay-per-view, I like doing watch-alongs. We'll be talking. Seems like we enjoy doing them together, so we'll see what happens as we go. But that's it, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thanks for all the content this weekend, man. We hung out fucking, last Thursday? We did podcast Saturday, fucking watch along now, all day, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Because at the end of the day, what this show's been trying to build for a long time is just a drinking community, a wrestling friend community. You talk about wrestling buddies, we're your drinking buddies. We want to hang out and talk wrestling and get in the woods because it is fun to talk about this stuff in a world that is not so fun a lot of the time. So with that, we are at WOTR The Show on Twitter, Wrestling on the Rocks on Instagram. I am at Ref Marsh on Twitter, at MarshRef on Instagram. You can check out my drawings and some of my memes if you check out those spots. Guys, thank you for coming through. Thank you for having a drink. Check us out at WrestlingOnTheRocks.com for all of our links, for all of the live streams we did for tonight. Luckily, it was only the first episode, so who knows how it went. We went live on multiple platforms. We'll see about doing that more and more. Guys, thank you for coming through and having a drink with us. Check out Bishop. Check out us. But at the end of the day, make sure you're checking out the wrestling. We'll see you guys down the road. We'll be back on Thursday. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.